Chapter 307 Black Mist Demonic Dragon Valley. A foul wind and a rain of blood followed as everyone was slaughtered. With the arrival of an unparalleled monster, the Black Mist Demonic Dragon clan suffered a calamity. Sizzle, sizzle, the little celestial hound kept gnawing on a dead Black Mist Demonic Dragon. The huge skeleton of 6,000 meters long was very eye-catching. Compared to swallowing it, the little celestial hound preferred this method of eating flesh, blood. This was the most primitive and instinctive way of hunting. Not long after, that Black Mist Demonic Dragon was gnawed clean. The ground had long been dyed blood red, telling the cruelty of nature. The strong preyed on the weak. There was nothing to complain about. This was the rule of survival. Eat, sleep. Wake up, hunt again, eat, sleep again. This was the lifestyle that the little celestial hound liked the most, and also its most primitive instinctive reaction. It was in its infancy period when it was growing. In just 3 days after entering the Black Mist Demonic Dragon Valley, its body grew a few meters, slowly approaching 90 meters. Similarly, it was getting closer and closer to its infancy period. The infancy celestial hound was at the beginner level. This was its body, not its strength. In terms of talent, the current little celestial hound could already tear apart the defense of the galaxy-level space barrier. It was extremely extraordinary. And the infancy period was the celestial hound that Lin Feng met in the illusion. It already had the strength of the galaxy level. One day, another day. This kind of leisurely life, when the little celestial hound hunted and killed thousands of Black Mist Demonic Dragons, it finally met its strongest enemy. The clan leader of the Black Mist Demonic Dragon clan, Lienya. The clan dragons died one after another. As the clan leader, Lienya could no longer sit still. Although he was afraid of the little celestial hound's strength, Lienya had no choice, either wait for death or die in a fierce battle. There were no cowards in the Black Mist Demonic Dragon clan. Almost all the 5th and 6th rank Black Mist Demonic Dragons gathered. Lienya led the Black Mist Demonic Dragon clan to face this terrifying fiend, and launched a desperate battle. Either you die or I die. This battle, blood flowed like a river. It was a battle that could destroy heaven and earth, a nightmare. It was the nightmare of the Black Mist Demonic Dragon clan. Refined Teeth was dead. Lian Meng was also dead. All the rank 5 and rank 6 Black Mist Demonic Dragons that participated in the battle were devoured. Under the power of the Celestial Dog clan's innate skill, Heavenly Dog swallows the sun. No matter how many Black Mist Dragons there were, they were all useless. The little celestial hound's stomach was like an endless black hole that could never be filled. But however, he had absorbed enough energy. The little celestial hound was full. Its 100-meter-long body had a perfect streamlined shape. The little celestial hound's eyes were closed, its body curled into a ball. It was like a hazy flame, filled with a powerful aura. A faint light enveloped it, and the raging flames formed a circle of light. It was so familiar. Heavenly fire. At this moment, the little celestial hound had absorbed enough energy and was undergoing an important transformation. The transformation from infancy to childhood was an evolution of the level of life, a leap in strength. If Lin Feng knew, he would definitely be shocked. Because the little celestial hound's evolution was earlier than what Duo had expected. 1 month. The gears of history were unknowingly, slowly changing. The netherworld ship. Sitting cross-legged, Lin Feng was like an old monk in meditation. The golden wheel below emitted a clear luster, and an astonishing aura of heaven and earth surged, constantly gathering around Lin Feng's body. Exhale, exhale, it was very long. Lin Feng's expression was very calm, but his tightly shut eyes and slightly furrowed brows reflected that at this moment, he was not as calm as he appeared on the surface. It was like a chess game, seemingly ordinary, but inside it was already raging. Whoosh! Golden air currents constantly flowed between the various meridians. The big and small meridians of the heroic spirit meridian had already been completely connected. For Lin Feng, who had an excellent memory since childhood, it was not difficult to remember the entire meridian map of the heroic spirit meridian. Back then, before Lin Feng had become a reserve warrior, he could clearly remember that astonishing spear strike. A lot of talents were actually hidden. The second step is to expand the meridians. Only meridians strong enough can accommodate the existence of the heroic spirit. Back then, I had stimulated the heroic spirit meridian, so the meridians of my right foot were strengthened. Therefore, this step is not difficult. According to Duodwa's instructions, Lin Feng repeatedly sorted out the meridians of the heroic spirit meridian. Every time the golden air currents surged, it would strengthen the meridians, integrate with the energy of heaven and earth, and slowly increase the meridians by a small margin without stopping. No wonder Duo said that the body of the war god is stronger than that of the martial god. So it's because of the existence of the soul. As he cultivated, there seemed to be a powerful force supporting the meridians of his right foot. As it continued to expand, Lin Feng deeply felt that the strength of his right foot continued to increase. In fact, he was already a galaxy-level martial god, but the width and toughness of his meridians did not meet the requirements of a galaxy-level war god. Comparing the two, one could see the difference. Lin Feng pondered. That's true. The strength of a martial god comes from cultivating the heart of origin. That's the foundation of a martial god's power. There was an essential difference between a martial god and a war god. As long as I complete these two steps, all the foundations will be solid, Lin Feng thought to himself. It was like laying the foundation for a house. Everything was prepared. The rest would be left to Duo. There was no shortcut for the first step. He could only rely on his own strength to complete this path. As for the second step, with the help of the golden wheel, Lin Feng's speed of completion increased by several times. As for the final third step, according to the normal opportunity, he still had to wait. But with Duo's presence, everything became a lot simpler. In fact, if Duo wasn't confident, why would he be so confident? It's about time. Duodwa's eyes shone. No one knew Lin Feng's physical condition better than Duo. Lin Feng controlled the netherworld ship, which was equivalent to controlling Duo. But in many aspects it was actually two-sided. Pa! Suddenly, the intricate control equipment in the main cabin lit up. Small buttons seemed to be controlled by someone as they were pressed continuously. Numbers flashed on the screen. Duodwa's eyes shone as he focused. Although Lin Feng was the owner of the netherworld ship, but in terms of controlling the netherworld ship, Lin Feng was no match for Duo. Artifact spirit. Dang, the equipment made a crisp sound. In an instant, around Lin Feng, white light gathered. It was like a transparent color. It passed through Lin Feng's right foot, folded and condensed, forming an inverted cone shape. Lin Feng closed his eyes tightly. His expression was very calm. Waves of powerful qi flowed into his body, but he didn't panic. He was already familiar with the entire third step. Let's begin. Lin Feng thought to himself. Forcefully break through. As the energy gathered, it was illuminated by the intense aurora. The hidden power in his right foot began to stir. It was as if a dormant power had been awakened. The corner of Duodwa's mouth curled up slightly. When he saw a small dot of light appear on Lin Feng's right foot, his eyes lit up. It appeared. Lin Feng's heart thumped. His body seemed to become transparent. He could clearly see the meridians in his right foot. Along with the illumination of the aurora, the latent power in his meridians slowly gathered like nothingness. That bright dot of light was like a scorching sun. It had a strong suction force. As the energy gathered, the dazzling light became more and more intense. Until it reached limit. Activate! Heroic soul! Lin Feng clenched his fists and shouted. His eyes widened rapidly, bringing with them a bright light. His right foot seemed to be filled with lead. It was incomparably heavy. The powerful energy gathered in his left foot was countless times stronger. The bright dot of light emitted an intense luster. In an instant, a violent explosion resounded in his mind. The light that reached the limit, it exploded. The terrifying explosive force produced an intense energy riot. However, his meridians weren't damaged at all. This energy seemed to have completely melted into his body. It kept dispersing. The meridians in his right foot flickered with a faint white light. At this moment, most of the energy spread throughout his body. It kept spreading to every corner, strengthening every cell in his body. A familiar feeling attacked him once again. So comfortable. Lin Feng felt his meridians opening up. He could feel his body's quality improving. At this moment, he felt as if he had returned to the time when the martial god broke through to the Star River realm. His body improved along with the martial god. Another transformation took place. Time passed slowly. He enjoyed this tranquility and the changes in his body. Lin Feng felt like he was bathing in the spring breeze. As his strength continued to improve, there was an indescribable carefree feeling in his heart. Martial God, Level 1 Star River Realm. Martial God, Level 1 Star River Realm. However, whether it was the heart of origin or the strength of his body, they were far beyond the Level 1 Star River Realm. 1 + 1 might not necessarily equal 2. Cultivating both the martial god and martial god, Lin Feng became a rare dual heaven-level warrior. What level would his strength reach? No one knew. The transformation of his body lasted for nearly 2 hours before it ended. The refreshed Lin Feng felt refreshed. Just as he was about to get up, he felt something strange in his right foot. At his knee, beside the original heroic soul, there was a black hole that was neither big nor small. It was a striking existence. It was filled with powerful energy, like a dark star in the sky. It made one feel suffocated. It was very powerful. Heroic soul. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. However, that empty black hole seemed to be missing something. At this moment, with a thought, Lin Feng opened his eyes in an uproar. He saw Duo 2 meters away in the air, looking at him with a faint smile. In his hand there was a purple-black object that was emitting a bright luster. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 308. How do you feel? Duo asked with a smile. My body has become stronger again. Lin Feng clenched his fists. He could feel that his body had improved by another level and was filled with power. Purely based on your body, you are now equivalent to a Level 2 Galaxy-level War God or a Level 3 Galaxy-level Martial God. Duo's lips curled upwards. Amen, Lin Feng nodded. As he had expected, the War God's body was indeed stronger than the Martial God's. Duo's eyes shone. Don't underestimate the difference between Level 1 and 2. Dual Cultivation Heaven Martial Artist will raise your upper limit. Seeing Lin Feng's confused expression, Duo smiled and explained, if we compare a person's body to a container, then dual cultivation is filling the container with water. Lin Feng, what you are increasing now is not water, but the size of the container. And this size can only be increased when one's life level increases. Lin Feng instantly understood, his eyes shining brightly. The life level increase Duo mentioned was actually from the Navistar level to the Galaxy level, and then from the Galaxy level to the Galaxy level. In other words, with each level, wouldn't his body's upper limit be 1 or 2 levels stronger than others? Do you understand? Duo smiled. Yes. Lin Feng nodded, feeling slightly happy. Indeed, this was an unexpected surprise. Among those of the same level, he had the advantage. Not only that. Duo's lips curled upwards. More importantly, it can be accumulated. Accumulated? Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. He exclaimed, Duo, you mean every time I advance to a new life level, my body's upper limit will increase again and again? It will continuously increase the distance between me and other heaven-level experts? Of course, dual cultivation has a high price, but the benefits are also incomparable, Duo said. Duo paused for a moment before continuing, and this accumulation isn't just a simple addition. If you compare the increase in your life level to the expansion of your container, it will be calculated in multiples. More importantly, this multiples is fixed. Therefore, when the capacity of the container increases, the improvement will be even more terrifying. And this is also the reason why the gap between heavenly gods and heavenly martial artists grows bigger as their strength increases. The soul of a celestial god is getting stronger and stronger, while the body of a celestial cultivator is getting stronger and stronger, forming a huge polarization. Lin Feng nodded. No wonder there wasn't much of a difference between heavenly warriors and heavenly gods. But when his strength slowly increased, the path between the two would become further and further apart, forming two extremes. Lin Feng stared at the purplish-black artifact. It was a purplish-black treasure cover. The clear and crystalline color was like a mirror. Upon closer inspection, it looked like a hornet's nest, densely packed with small holes. He couldn't tell what material it was made of, but he could feel an extremely powerful force coming from it. Surging power. This is soul artifact? Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Yes. Duo nodded and said, I've carefully selected this for you from Master's Treasure Mountain. Wind Vortex. Wind Vortex? Treasure Mountain? Lin Feng looked at Duo curiously. He couldn't help but recall the structure of the Netherworld ship. He had seen the Treasure Mountain in his mind before. It was an isolated space. Apart from that, there was also a huge crafting room. He had heard from his father that crafting was very difficult. In the Douling world, craftsmen had a very high status. Could it be, does Master know how to craft? Lin Feng asked the question in his heart. Yes, Duo said without hesitation. Duo looked at Lin Feng and smiled. To be honest, Master doesn't have any talent in crafting. However, Master has a special interest in crafting. It's not easy to find your own interests in the endless years. Master has studied a lot of crafting techniques to make up for his lack of talent. Although Master's crafting skills aren't worth mentioning in the endless universe, but, as if he knew what Lin Feng was thinking, Duo said, in the Douling world, no one can compare to him. Lin Feng nodded. He didn't doubt Duo's words. What couldn't a starry sky expert do? The most important thing for craftsmen is to have a fire elemental heart. Then, they have to master a flame that can be used to craft weapons. Duo looked at Lin Feng and smiled. Lin Feng, you do meet the first condition, but the second condition, Duo said, unfortunately, your devouring fire can't be used to craft weapons. Any material that can be smelted will be devoured by you. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. The devouring fire's characteristics were really special. It had completely blocked his path. Unless you reach Master's level. Duo shrugged. Lin Feng smiled helplessly. Is there no other way before I become a starry sky expert? It's useless even if you comprehend other flame abilities. Duo smiled faintly. With the devouring fire, any other flame energy will have to give way. Give up, Lin Feng. Duo smiled. Then, as if he thought of something, he said softly, Oh, I forgot. Phoenixes have another type of flame. The flame of rebirth? Lin Feng remembered it clearly. The devouring fire and the flame of rebirth were two extremes. However, the divine beast, Phoenix, could perfectly control these two extreme flames. Yes, it's an excellent flame for crafting weapons. Duo nodded and said, however, it's a pity that a human body wants to master the flames of two opposite poles. That's something that's close to impossible. Lin Feng shrugged. Although he was curious about crafting weapons, he didn't know what to do. But since he didn't have the talent, he could only accept it. Sometimes it had to be. Alright, back to the topic. Let's start fusing. Duo tossed the wind vortex over. Although this wind vortex wasn't personally crafted by Master, the fact that it was kept in the hidden artifact mountain is enough to prove its value. I've thought about it carefully. It's the best soul artifact you can handle right now. Lin Feng caught it with one hand, his eyes filled with curiosity. The purple-black color emitted a demonic light. The tiny holes were densely packed. There were tens of thousands of tiny holes in the shape of a small lid. The craftsmanship was so precise that it was breathtaking. How do I fuse it? Lin Feng's eyes shone. Place it on your right knee. Drip some blood on it. Duo crossed his arms and said, So simple? It was a bit unexpected. Lin Feng pondered for a moment, then placed the wind vortex on it. The wind vortex was in the shape of a half circle, covering his kneecap. As a drop of blood dripped down, Lin Feng instantly felt a flow of extremely strong energy, as if it had been awakened. Hua! The purple-black light flashed. The wind vortex expanded strangely, as if it had an extremely strong flexibility. In an instant, it twisted like a vine. Lin Feng was slightly surprised, but he didn't panic. The wind vortex didn't have any intention to attack, nor was it dangerous. It seemed to be looking for a place to belong. In a short time, his entire right leg was covered by the purple-black light, shining brightly. Pa! Pa! The light was resplendent. Lin Feng felt his right leg tighten, frowning slightly. In an instant, the purple-black light strangely seeped into his skin, as if it didn't exist. The rapid change made Lin Feng's eyes shine. Very quickly, his cells violently changed, and his expanded meridians were all covered by the purple-black light. It was as if his originally naked body was wearing clothes and armor. His right leg, within his skin and bones, had an internal layer of defense built by the wind vortex. Is this the effect of a soul artifact? Lin Feng was shocked. Compared to his body's defense, it was several times stronger. And this was just the beginning. The purple-black light turned into sparkling starlight. After strengthening his meridians and cells, it crazily surged towards the heroic soul at his knee. The huge black hole seemed to have an endless suction force. His right leg was like 100 rivers flowing into the sea, boiling. Release, absorb. Gather, change. The purple-black light had a strong vitality, and it started to struggle against the suction force of the black hole. Faintly, Lin Feng seemed to be able to feel a kind of life beating. It was a very natural feeling, but it wasn't like Toto's. Instead, it was a slight feeling in his soul. Is this the weapon spirit? Lin Feng was curious. At this moment, the battle at his right knee was still going on. They were using all their strength, neither giving way. Lin Feng was unperturbed. He was not worried at all. Since Duo had chosen this wind vortex for him, it must have been carefully calculated. He would only take it out if he could absorb and fuse with it. According to Toto, completely fusing with the soul artifact will give me the ability of a weapon spirit. I wonder what kind of ability will it be? Lin Feng thought curiously, looking forward to it. After all, if he lost the martial god's wheel, he would lose the secret technique acupoint explosion, which was equivalent to losing a protective talisman. If the weapon spirit's ability could be replenished, it would undoubtedly be perfect. Black Mist Dragon Valley. At this moment, the little celestial hound was undergoing an extreme transformation. A huge flame was burning. It was a huge fireball that tightly wrapped around the little celestial hound's curled-up body. Heavenly Fire. The celestial hound clan's innate talent was the Tao of Fire. However, there were very few who had the protection of the heavenly fire. It was rare to see one in 10,000 years. The flame continued to burn. the little celestial hound curled up in the heavenly fire didn't move at all. However, if one looked carefully, one would see that its body was constantly changing. The flame mark on its forehead was slowly deepening. It was transitioning from infancy to childhood. It was an extreme transformation. Although it was born without parents, the little celestial hound still used its actions to prove its talent. It was astonishingly strange. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidien.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 309. The purplish-black light filled up the entire black hole. The perfect fusion of the weapon spirit and the heroic spirit formed a brand new change. It was a feeling of fullness. Hua! Many messages appeared in his mind. Lin Feng's expression changed slightly as if a memory fragment in the depths of his mind had been awakened. Lin Feng knew that this was a new ability he had obtained after the fusion of the weapon spirit. So this is the wind vortex. Lin Feng suddenly understood. He opened his eyes, which shone brightly. Lin Feng looked at Toto, whose round little face was smiling at him, and nodded. The fusion went smoothly. Bang! Lin Feng pulled out the dragon-slaying spear from his back, which glowed red. In an instant, his right leg took a step forward like lightning. The sudden increase in explosive power caused the speed of his attack to increase rapidly. His body moved like a ghost, adapting to his new body. Lin Feng's spear shadows filled the sky. Chi! Chi! Lin Feng's figure became illusory. He had broken through from the novice star level to the galaxy level. The successive breakthroughs of the martial god and war god levels had greatly increased his physical fitness, especially the change in his right leg. The explosive power is amazing. Lin Feng was pleasantly surprised. Compared to his left leg, his right leg was more powerful. His body's movement was sometimes fast and sometimes slow, creating a feeling of extreme disparity. It was impossible to guard against. At this moment, Lin Feng's spear shadows condensed into light spots as his right leg suddenly stepped forward. Flash of flowing light. Lin Feng's eyes lit up as his spear turned into a shooting star. He stabbed forward. In an instant, his right knee glowed with a purplish-black light. Enormous energy fluctuations surged from the thousands of small holes. At the last moment when his right foot touched the ground, it bent in a bizarre manner, suddenly changing at an almost impossible angle. Pata! The unimaginable change in his body completely violated the human body's inertia. However, the spear shadows did not stop. Chi! It stabbed toward Toto. The original deviation was forcibly reversed by 45 degrees. What a shocking change in attack! Fast, accurate, and ruthless. Swish! The spear shadow passed through Toto's body, and Toto disappeared. Behind Lin Feng, light and shadow began to coalesce. Plenty then said, "How is it? The wind vortex is not bad, right?" Putting away his spear, Lin Feng smiled. Indeed, it can bring about a bizarre change in attack, making the spear move even more strange and the footwork even more mysterious. Wind vortex is mostly used to change one's movements, Duo said seriously. Changing one's spear moves will cause one's attack to be disconnected. A true expert must have an indomitable aura and confidence in his own attack. If he can't even hit his opponent head-on, playing some tricks will be of little use. I've learned something. Lin Feng nodded as if he had understood something. Wind vortex was just a support. When using a spear, one had to believe in their own spear. Ordinary sky warriors mainly use wind vortex to enhance the explosive force of their feet when they attack. Duo nodded. Although it's not as powerful as the explosive force of their aperture points, it's not much different. Lin Feng grunted softly, but he was very clear. He only needed to give the wind vortex a push to increase its explosive force. Most importantly, compared to the explosive force of his aperture points, the wind vortex could last longer. It could last through the entire battle. You win some, you lose some. Losing the battle god's wheel isn't necessarily a bad thing. Lin Feng smiled indifferently. Apart from the help provided by the wind vortex in terms of attack and movement techniques, the true ability of the wind vortex's weapon spirit was truly terrifying. Wind escape. Heroic soul erupted, and his speed instantly increased by 100 times. He turned into a hurricane and escaped. With the wind vortex, your safety will be greatly increased, Duo said. As long as you don't get sealed in space or frozen in time, the wind vortex can help you avoid many certain death situations in the Douling world and find a way to survive. Lin Feng nodded with a smile. Duo was indeed very thoughtful. There was no ability that could surpass a life-saving ultimate skill. After all, he only had one life. If he had the wind vortex back in the Black Mist Demonic Dragon Valley, he wouldn't have ended up in such a sorry state. However, the price of using the wind escape after erupting the heroic soul is not small, Lin Feng said softly. He wouldn't use it unless he had no other choice. I'm here, what are you worried about? Duo smiled. As long as you're still breathing, I can save you. After a pause, Duo shrugged. Alright, I've digressed. I hope I'm not such a jinx. All in all, the evolution of the God of War and the fusion of the God of War's spirit are quite perfect. Lin Feng's eyes instantly flashed. Then do I have a 90% chance of winning now? Duo rested his chin on his hand and said noncommittally, there are still 4 more months. It depends on your performance. Then what are we waiting for, Duo? Lin Feng clenched his fist. His eyes shone brightly. The increase in his strength made him even more confident. Let's begin. An all-round improvement. Lin Feng's schedule was extremely tight. He was multitasking. With his secret clone protecting the Sky Martial Continent, Lin Feng's main body focused on the battle in 4 months. He couldn't afford to lose. It's time. The devouring flame in his hand extinguished. Lin Feng heaved a sigh of relief. The netherworld seal in his right hand flashed slightly. Lin Feng instantly arrived at the intermediate cultivation space. The time ratio here was 101. Although it wasn't as good as the advanced cultivation space, this place had the Migres Palace. It could increase the realm of one's movement technique. Last time, I continuously cultivated in the first level of the Migres Palace for 10 days and 10 nights. That's 2 hours in the real world. Lin Feng stepped into the Migres Palace. His memories appeared clearly. That day, he was in a difficult situation. He had spent a total of 120,000 starlight points, but his improvement was still extremely slow. He seemed to lack a little talent in terms of improving his movement technique. Was it talent? Lin Feng shook his head. He wasn't sure. But I can't avoid it. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. As a sky martial artist, close combat was his main method of attack. If his movement technique was weak, how could he display his strength? He had to make up for it. Every day, 6 hours of movement technique training. That's 300 hours in the Migres Palace. Lin Feng nodded. It was a huge test of willpower. The Migres Palace was different from others. When cultivating in the Migres Palace, there wasn't any free time. Every minute and every second, he had to constantly dodge the attacks. The requirements for the mind were extremely high. Without a certain amount of willpower, how could he last for 300 hours? However, I have to hold on. I might not be used to it at first, but I will slowly get used to it. Lin Feng clenched his fist. The goal in his heart was very clear. Just like what Duo said, a true expert couldn't have any weaknesses. What? 7 light doors appeared in front of him. Lin Feng stepped into the Migres Palace. Without hesitation, he walked into the first light door. The first stage. I wonder if my current body can break through the first stage? Lin Feng thought to himself. Things were different now. He was already a Star River level existence. The difficulties in the past might not necessarily be difficulties anymore. As expected, in less than 20 hours, Lin Feng passed the first stage of the test. Thinking back to the day, his best result was being hit 7,990 times. But now, his new body only needed a short time to adapt and he easily passed. As expected, I couldn't pass that day because my body's foundation was too weak. My consciousness can keep up, but my body can't avoid it. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. He smiled and said, "Seems like it's not a problem of talent." Thinking about it, if his talent in movement technique was really that bad, how could his war god and martial god aptitudes be so high? After all, among the aptitudes of sky martial artists, movement technique took up a large part of it. Lin Feng smiled and stepped into the second light door. The second stage. In a space of nothingness and chaos, Lin Feng floated in the air. Around him, countless streams of white light darted into his body like shooting stars, piercing through the air like sharp arrows, making swishing noises. Lin Feng dodged gracefully. The wind vortex on his right leg flickered with purple light from time to time. He dodged unbelievably. The angle of attack was very tricky. The frequency of the attack was much higher than the first stage. But the effect was also very shocking. The goal Duo gave me was to go as far as possible in the third stage. So, I must pass the second stage. Lin Feng's eyes flickered. His mind was completely focused. Although he had been practicing continuously for dozens of hours, Lin Feng didn't slack off at all. There was no shortcut to increasing the realm of movement technique. It could only be done step by step. Proficiency, control, and use freely. In close combat, regardless of whether it was attacking or dodging, movement technique was indispensable. He spent a total of 288 hours. It consumed 576,000 starlight points. The number was quite huge. And this was merely in the real world. Not even 6 hours had passed. But he could afford it now. Finally, I passed the second stage. Lin Feng let out a long sigh of relief. Walking out of the light door, Lin Feng smiled as if a heavy burden had been lifted off his shoulders. Although he looked exhausted, there was also a hint of excitement. This was an increase in strength. The second stage was several times more difficult than the first stage. Fortunately, I have the wind vortex. Otherwise, not to mention 300 hours, even if I had 3,000 hours, I might not be able to dodge perfectly. Lin Feng looked at the faint purple light on his right knee and smiled. Indeed, as Duo said, the existence of the wind vortex was the greatest benefit. It was the realm of movement technique. Tomorrow I will start to attack the third stage. Time's up. I should go back for the next practice. Very busy. Every second counted. Lin Feng stepped out of the Migres palace. The Netherworld seal flashed and he returned to the Netherworld ship. Black Mist Dragon Valley. The huge flame that was 100 meters long finally calmed down. The little celestial hound that was curled up in the heavenly fire was no longer trembling. Its body seemed to be frozen. The flame mark on its forehead was fierce and filled with a strong Tao of fire. The surrounding was empty. It had long been burned to ashes by the flames. Suddenly, the huge flame cocoon shook violently. The little celestial hound seemed to have awakened. Its 100-meter-long body struggled frantically. The astonishing heavenly fire ball slowly cracked. In an instant there was a crack sound. The top of the heavenly fire ball shattered. At the shattered part, a head that looked like a lion and a dog slowly appeared. Its eyes were sparkling with a sharp light. The little celestial hound, from infancy to childhood, the transformation was complete. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Qidien.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 310. Sizzle, sizzle. Swallowing the heavenly fireball, the little heavenly hound's eyes were filled with sparkling luster. It was different. It was a kind of light of wisdom. Just like a 6-year-old human child, the little heavenly hound's eyes looked at the surrounding environment, appearing much more mature. This was also because it was in an unfamiliar place. If it was in the Heavenly Hound clan, it would have already grown up under the guidance of its parents. And now it was completely self-sufficient. Soon, the huge heavenly fireball was finished. The little heavenly hound rubbed its stomach and sniffed lightly, as if it had sensed something, its eyes staring into the depths. In an instant, whoosh! It stepped into the air and galloped like the wind. From infancy to childhood, it wasn't just a change in their intelligence, their bodies were strengthened as well. The current little heavenly hound's strength had already reached the galaxy level, similar to a warrior. And once it used its innate skill, Heavenly Hound swallows the sun, its power was even more terrifying. In less than 6 hours, after swallowing countless black mist demonic dragons along the way, the little heavenly hound finally entered the depths of the black mist demonic dragon valley. That was the place Lin Feng had been to before. The demonic dragon lair. Strong energy fluctuations gathered, and the little heavenly hound flew up and roared. The black mist demonic dragons guarding the entrance of the cave attacked with all their might. After the battle with Lin Feng last time, the defense was even tighter. However, in the face of the little heavenly hound's strong attack, just the explosive attack of the fireball had completely engulfed everything. How could these shrimp soldiers and crab generals resist the strength equivalent to a warrior's galaxy level? Soon, they became the little heavenly hound's food. Roar! Looking at the gloomy cave entrance, the little heavenly hound's eyes were cold, as if it had sensed something. It leaped and immediately entered the lair. The Black Mist demonic dragon clan had suffered a truly devastating disaster. The importance of the demonic dragon lair was beyond doubt. Even if Lienya died, even if the 5th and 6th level Black Mist demonic dragons were all swallowed, as long as the demonic dragon lair did not fall, the Black Mist demonic dragons could still continue their bloodline, live for tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of years, and recover their former prosperity. But now they had entered the rhythm of destruction. Hundreds of dragon eggs were swallowed by the little celestial hound, turning into delicious nutrients. With its belly bulging, the little celestial hound revealed a satisfied expression and narrowed its eyes. The howling sound reverberated throughout the cave, echoing like a wolf howling in a flock of sheep, causing a huge commotion in an instant. In the north of the demonic dragon lair, countless black mist demonic dragon whelps were panicking. It was an innate fear, a fear of the strong. Bloodline rank determined everything. Pa! Turning its head around, the little Tengu's ears perked up as if it had heard something, and its eyes lit up. In the blink of an eye, he flew straight to the deepest part of the nest. Following the appearance of this terrifying fiend, the final holy land of the Black Mist demonic dragon clan, it was declared lost. In less than a minute, the little celestial dog entered. Like a tiger in a flock of sheep, the little celestial dog excitedly barked at the delicious food in front of it. The body that had just transformed needed to be replenished with energy the most. It opened its mouth wide, and a huge suction force instantly appeared. The little celestial hound's eyes emitted a scorching light, and the black fog demon dragon whelps were devoured one after another. Feeling the weight in its stomach increasing and filling up, the little celestial hound's face was filled with joy. But for the Black Mist demonic dragon clan, this was a true calamity of extinction. Survival of the fittest, survival of the fittest. It had been like this since ancient times. Inside the netherworld ship. Huff huff, Lin Feng took deep breath. Circling in a thick fog, Lin Feng's figure appeared blurry. The surging heaven and earth chi merged with his stellar energy and flowed through his meridians. From his upper limbs to his chest, and then from his chest to his lower limbs, when it passed through his right leg, he could see the rapid flow of qi. It was extremely smooth. It felt as if he was riding a horse with no obstruction. As expected, the speed of the stellar energy has increased by a lot. Lin Feng thought. Although it was only the meridians in his right leg that had increased in speed, it was equivalent to continuously increasing speed in a cycle. Now, he had only connected one of the battle god spirit. He could imagine what it would be like when he became stronger and activated more of the battle god spirit. This strategy of Emperor Shun is indeed extraordinary. Just the first stage of the first stage has already surpassed the third stage of the Golden Dragon Stellar Energy Technique by a large margin. Lin Feng's lips curved into a satisfied smile. Although it took a lot of time to change to the Battle God Mental Cultivation Technique and start cultivating again, the effect was quite good. The strategy of Emperor Shun was left to him by his teacher. According to Duo, teacher became a starry sky expert from the path of the battle god. Without a doubt, I can progress much faster in the path of the battle god. The difference in cultivation speed between having a teacher and not having a teacher was like heaven and earth. Lin Feng was very clear about this point. With the strength of a starry sky expert, I can cultivate all 12 stages of the first stage. The key is one's comprehension ability. According to Duo, the first 3 stages are the foundation and won't be too difficult. But from the 4th stage onwards, the difficulty will gradually increase. Every 3 stages is a step, and from the 10th to the 12th stage, almost no one can cultivate it. Even teacher hasn't reached it. Lin Feng was amazed. The profoundness of this strategy of Emperor Shun left him speechless. Only those at the starry sky level could cultivate it. Only after activating a battle god spirit could one cultivate the next stage. Just the first stage of the first stage was comparable to the third stage of the 6-star mental cultivation technique, Golden Dragon Stellar Energy Technique. In the past 4 months, Duo has given me many tasks. I have comprehended the first stage of the 6th stage. A thick white fog surrounded him. He had a firm goal in his heart. Soon, Lin Feng was completely immersed in cultivation. The 24 hours of a day were completely divided into 4 large blocks. Increasing the devouring fire, cultivating the movement realm, comprehending the strategy of Emperor Shun, and practicing the spear. Each part took 6 hours. It was like a cake that was neatly cut into 4 large pieces. The third stage of the Beast Rampage was still in the midst of continuous attacks. However, with the protection of the secret clone, the Aurora all killed the enemies like it was wheat, and the blade fragments were extremely powerful. The Tianwu continent was like an iron wall, and it was not threatened at all. In addition, the human martial gods broke through one after another. The burden on Lin Feng's body became smaller and smaller. Just by relying on the time of rest, the secret clone was already close to the breakthrough. To the heavenly gods, the biggest obstacle to breaking through was their bodies. If their bodies were not strong enough, they would not be able to withstand more heaven and earth energy. This restriction caused many Empyrean gods to shrink back. But to Lin Feng, it was an exception. There were no bottlenecks at all. As long as he was strong enough, he would be able to break through. It's a pity that teacher is not good with the spear. Otherwise, my understanding of the spear would definitely reach a higher level. But there are no shortcuts on the path of the spear. In the advanced cultivation space, Lin Feng practiced the basic spear moves over and over again. It was very dry and boring, but it was the only indispensable part of practicing the spear. The spear, among all the weapons, emphasizes the most on the basic. The stronger the basic spear moves, the deeper the understanding of the spear. Duo's words lingered in Lin Feng's mind. It was still fresh in his memory. Although Duo did not know much about the spear, he had been in the endless starry sky for so long. Even if he had not eaten a pig, he had seen a pig run. More or less, he had some understanding of the spear. If there's a chance, I can actually practice the dagger, Lin Feng thought to himself. His teacher was the best at dual daggers. He could use them to perfection. Coupled with his footwork, he could fight at close range to the extreme. I have the talent Black Fog. The closer I get, the faster I am, and the slower the enemy is. Moreover, the dagger is easy to learn but hard to master. I can master it very quickly. Coupled with the long spear, one long and one short, I can cooperate very well. But now, Lin Feng took a deep breath and immediately focused his mind. All his thoughts were placed on the spear. He had to use all his energy to break through to the fifth realm of the spear, returning to the origin, demonic dragon lair. It was a sight that was too horrible to look at. The appearance of the little celestial dog destroyed all the hope of the Black Fog demonic dragon clan. More than 300 dragon eggs were swallowed and thousands of young dragons were slaughtered and turned into energy. The little celestial dog was naturally not as benevolent as Lin Feng. It acted instinctively and displayed the most essential elements of its personality. It was brutal and bloodthirsty. Just like what Duo said, the little celestial dog was like an executioner, crazily harvesting lives. With the example of the past, it would be the same in the Sky Martial Continent in the future. Patter, patter. The little celestial dog's sharp teeth tore at the flesh. The shattered bones and the shocking amount of fresh blood dyed this sacred ground a blood-red color. None of the young dragons were spared. All of them were spat out. This place had become a bloody hell. And the little celestial dog was that evil demon. Its appetite was extremely good. The little celestial dog that had just evolved had a much better appetite than the infant stage. It swallowed heavenly fireballs, dragon eggs, and young dragons, but its stomach was still not full. The little celestial dog growled, as if it was extremely dissatisfied, protesting that there were so few young dragons. Sniffing, the little celestial dog wanted to look for food, but its expression suddenly changed as if it had sensed something special, and some hesitation flashed in its eyes. But it still went deeper into the cave. It was quite bold. It kept moving forward and moving forward again. The little celestial dog was very cautious, afraid that it would trigger some trap. After reaching the infant stage, the little celestial dog seemed to have become a lot more mature. It could think and make choices. The deeper it went, the thicker the black fog became. Small fragments of black fog crystal core could be seen everywhere. These incomparably precious crystals were like ordinary stones here, and did not care about them at all. Suddenly, a violent energy spiraled in front of it. The little celestial dog growled warily, but it still slowly approached it step by step, until it reached the end. Roar! The little celestial dog raised its head and roared. Its eyes flashed with a sharp light. The great battle is about to begin. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Qidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 3:11. It was a 5-colored boulder that was dozens of meters tall. It was rugged and uneven, as if it was formed naturally. There were many holes in the boulder, and a black crystal was embedded in each hole. If Lin Feng were here, he would definitely recognize it because it was almost exactly the same as the Black Mist demonic dragon's inner core. It emitted a pure energy aura that nourished the Black Mist demonic dragon clan. This was the foundation of the Black Mist demonic dragon clan. The dragon vein. The spiral-shaped airflow surrounded the 5-colored boulder, making it look even more blurry. Thick black fog that contained the aura of the black crystal emerged. It was more than 100 times thicker than the Black Mist demonic dragon valley. These inner cores were left behind by the ancestors of the Black Mist demonic dragons. As time passed, the skeletons of the black mist demonic dragons in the ancestral tomb in the demonic dragon lair turned to ashes one by one. However, these inner cores remained as if they had a life of their own, because of the existence of the five-colored boulder. However, many things seemed to have been predestined. Although Lin Feng didn't come here, the little celestial dog did. What it brought to the Black Mist demonic dragon clan was a truly devastating disaster. Roar! With an excited roar, the little celestial dog could naturally sense the energy contained in these inner core crystals. It opened its mouth in an instant, and countless inner core crystals flew out of the five-colored boulder and went straight into the little celestial dog's stomach. Munch, munch, the little celestial dog showed a satisfied look as it chewed on the delicious food. The energy contained in the inner core crystals was quite strong. It was full in a short while. Its body swelled inexplicably, but the little celestial dog looked hesitant as if it had thought of something. It couldn't help but let out a few low growls. This was a kind of intuition, or rather, a brand, that reminded the little celestial dog of the next evolution direction. Although it was only in the infancy stage, in fact, if it was carefully nurtured by its parents, the infancy stage of a top-grade bloodline would already have the qualifications to transform. Suddenly, the little celestial dog's eyes flashed, and it rushed forward. Stepping on the five-colored boulder, the little celestial dog stared at the sunken area at the top. A book was lying there quietly. Howl, the little celestial dog seemed to be a little excited. He felt as if he recognized these words and felt an inexplicable interest in this book. From infancy to childhood, some of the hidden bloodline memories in the little heavenly dog's body were slowly awakening. Transfiguration secrets. It was the refined teeth that Lin Feng had given him that day. After that, it was placed here by refined teeth to become the clan's ultimate treasure. But unexpectedly, after going around in circles, he ended up in the hands of the little celestial dog. Wow! Whoosh! The book kept flipping open. Looking at the strange characters, the little celestial dog suddenly felt a sense of familiarity. His voice was low and deep, but he did not know where he had seen it before. The little celestial hound's eyes flickered with a crystalline luster as it looked at the pictures one after another. Its mind kept flipping through its latent memories. Suddenly, the little celestial hound's eyes lit up. In an instant, he seemed to have understood something. Suddenly, a series of crackling sounds came from his body. Strangely, it shrank and shrank again. From 100 meters to 50 meters, then to 20 meters, and finally, with a loud roar, the little celestial hound shrank to 10 meters in length. With a low cry, the little celestial hound scurried around as fast as the wind, far faster than before. With a look of incomparable joy, the little celestial hound roared excitedly. It felt as if the power in its body had been awakened. Transfiguration Third Realm. In just an instant, he had reached it. This was the top bloodline, this was the rare genius of the Celestial Hound clan in 10,000 years. Even if he was stranded in a foreign land, the light of a genius could not be concealed. Roar! The loud voice spread throughout the entire demonic dragon's lair. The little celestial hound's eyes emitted a sharp cold light. Its power soared. Unknowingly, the track of history was slowly deviating. The netherworld ship. Lin Feng controlled the devouring fire to burn a sparkling fire diamond and asked curiously, Toto, how strong was the celestial hound in the illusion last time? It's equivalent to a level 9 Emperor-level magical beast, about the same as a level 2 galaxy-level heavenly martial artist, Toto said casually. Only level 2 galaxy-level? Lin Feng frowned. The scene of his crushing defeat in the illusion was still vivid in his mind. At that time, facing the celestial hound, he had no power to fight back. But it was only level 2 galaxy level? The same level, but the difference in strength can be very big. Toto shrugged. Take an Emperor-level magical beast for example. Dragons of the same level are much stronger than ordinary magical beasts. 1 against 10 is no problem. It's the same for a celestial hound with a top bloodline against a dragon. Lin Feng nodded, understanding in his heart. Just like himself, although he was only a level 1 galaxy level heavenly martial artist, his strength far surpassed ordinary level 2 or even level 3 heavenly martial artists. This was the difference. Toto's eyes lit up. Innate Tao of Fire, the celestial hound's control of fire is quite terrifying. Glancing at Lin Feng, Toto suddenly laughed, however, encountering a little monster like you who has the phoenix blood and can control the devouring fire, that celestial hound can be considered unlucky. Lin Feng smiled. No matter how strong the celestial hound was, it was only a top-notch bloodline. However, the phoenix was a true divine beast. However, Toto's tone changed, and his expression became serious. Lin Feng, what you need to worry about the most is the celestial hound's innate skill. Celestial hound swallows the sun. A gap of 3 levels in attack will be your biggest problem and threat. A gap of 3 levels in attack? Lin Feng's eyes lit up, and he immediately understood. In other words, the strength of a level 9 Emperor level, the power of the celestial hound swallows the sun. That was a level 12 Emperor level. No wonder I couldn't resist last time. It's equivalent to a level 5 galaxy level heavenly martial artist's attack. It's no wonder I lost. Lin Feng muttered to himself as he looked at Toto with a burning gaze. Given my current strength, can I win against it? Toto shook his head. Lin Feng's mood instantly became heavy and stifled, but Toto's teasing voice rang in his ears. However, given your current progress, Lin Feng, your chances of winning against that celestial hound in 4 months will exceed 90%. In other words, a 90% chance of winning. Lin Feng's eyes lit up, and a knowing smile appeared on his face. No matter how monstrous that celestial hound's innate talent is, the Netherworld ship's AI calculates that its limit is the level 11 Emperor level. Lin Feng, given your strength in 4 months, you also have an 80% chance of winning. Unless, Toto paused, and Lin Feng couldn't help but feel curious. Unless what? Toto smiled and shook his head. Unless the celestial hound matures from its infancy to adulthood and fully transforms. However, 4 months is almost impossible. According to the Netherworld ship's AI, the chances are less than 1 in 100 million. Hearing Toto's words, Lin Feng smiled faintly. Suddenly, as if he thought of something, Lin Feng asked, "Can't the infancy celestial hound transform?" "Yes," Toto answered without hesitation. However, less than 1 in 10 can successfully transform. Toto smiled faintly. This is under the guidance of their parents, and the premise of growing up in the Celestial Hound clan. However, this Celestial Hound of the Tianwu continent has already completely wild. Let alone successfully transforming, it probably doesn't even know what transforming is. The chances of transforming is even lower than that of the infancy celestial hound. Lin Feng's eyes lit up as he nodded. The devouring flame in his hand shone brightly and ferociously. Lin Feng's heart was completely lifted. He curled his lips and clenched his fists. In an instant, the devouring flame was extinguished. 4 months later, I will definitely win. Lin Feng was brimming with confidence. In the high-grade cultivation space. Whoosh, whoosh. Lin Feng held a blazing spear in his hand and waved it continuously. Streaks of fiery red air appeared as the devouring flame attached to the tip of the spear and condensed into a point. Every stab caused the space to tremble. The devouring flame was extremely powerful. Finally, I've adapted. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. This new spear had taken him a total of 4,000 hours to raise the Realm of One with the spear to the same level as the dragon-slaying spear. The Realm of One with the spear was perfect. It's slightly heavier than the dragon-slaying spear but slightly thinner. The energy at the tip of the spear is more condensed and the lines of the spear body are softer. I wonder what grade Toto has strengthened it to, Lin Feng muttered to himself as he held the blazing spear in his hand. He felt his heart palpitate. It was as if the spear had merged with his blood and established a connection with every cell in his body. The feeling of holding the spears, it was extremely comfortable. Nightmare Demon Spear. Lin Feng caressed the perfect body of the spear as his eyes flashed with joy. Although the dragon-slaying spear was good, its grade was too low. It could not withstand the intensity of the devouring flame, and could only be eliminated. This Nightmare Demon Spear was the best 5-star soul cultivator weapon that could be bought in the Arcade Hall. After being continuously strengthened by Duo for 49 days, it had just been made. Using the best materials, it was perfectly compatible with the devouring flame. This Nightmare Demon Spear could unleash the power of a sky martial artist to the fullest. To a sky martial artist, weapons were extremely important. Although there were many soul weapons in the treasure mountain, the only weapon was a dagger. One had to know that to refine weapons, one had to be proficient in weapons. If one did not practice the spear, how could one know how to refine the spear? Continue to practice. Lin Feng's eyes deepened. The sooner I break through the realm of one with the spear, the higher my strength will be. Lin Feng held the spear tightly as he danced once again towards the realm of spear arts that no one in the sky martial continent had ever stepped into, madly sprinting. The wind blew and the clouds surged. Lin Feng, under the immense pressure, continued to increase his strength. As for the little heavenly dog, it had exceeded Toto's expectations. It had mysteriously entered the black mist demonic dragon valley and had fortuitous encounters one after another. The original trajectory had completely changed. The battle in the illusion that day would not repeat itself. However, the new battle would be 100 or 1,000 times more astonishing than the previous battle. As time passed, it was about to completely erupt. The 15th episode has ended. The next episode, the final battle of the Sky Martial Continent, will begin. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 312. Time passed quickly. On the 11th of August, the third stage of the Beast Uprising began. In the blink of an eye, more than 4 months had passed. The human martial artists were getting stronger and stronger. Under the lead of Lin Feng's secret clone, they were guarding the Sky Martial Continent. They did not allow any demonic beasts to step in. The people of the Sky Martial Continent were filled with fighting spirit and expectation. They were waiting for this shocking battle to end soon. 20th of December. It was getting closer and closer to the half-year deadline. There was a feeling that a storm was coming. But it was this pressure that made Lin Feng even more focused. He was fully immersed in his cultivation. The effect was shocking. Inside the netherworld ship. Huff huff, Lin Feng closed his eyes. Circling in a dense fog, Lin Feng's figure was blurry. The surging heaven and earth chi merged into his body, forming a spiral that covered his entire body. The chi was different from before. It was as thick as an arm and was shockingly condensed. His body was emitting a faint glow as it was constantly being strengthened. Hearing a pleasant voice in his mind, Lin Feng opened his eyes. Huff! He let out a deep breath. Today's cultivation of earth chi had come to an end. Walking out of the fog, Lin Feng's steps were steady and steady. Compared to 2 months ago, his robust body was even more sturdy and firm. His muscles were filled with explosive power. Battle God, level 3-star River Realm. Martial God, level 3-star River Realm. Adding on his breakthrough as a heavenly deity, his body had become even stronger. In terms of body, Lin Feng was now equivalent to a battle god at the level 5-star River Realm and a martial god at the level 6-star River Realm. His strength was shocking. TSK, although Lin Feng's talent is average, your comprehension is beyond my expectations. Duo was circling in the air with his hands crossed. His bright eyes flashed with a strange light. This book of Emperor Shun was originally set to be the level 1, level 6. Who would have thought that in a short 2 months, Lin Feng would be able to completely comprehend it? Not bad. Seeing Toto nod thoughtfully, Lin Feng smiled. Indeed, the progress was faster than he had imagined. The originally 4-month mission had been completed in just over 2 months. Even he couldn't believe it. Maybe it's because of the pressure, Lin Feng said modestly. The reason why his strength had improved so quickly was related to the upcoming battle. Pressure could cause one to collapse, but it could also cause one to improve. Maybe. Duo smiled noncommittally. Based on this trend, Lin Feng, you might be able to comprehend the first stage, the 7th heavenly layer, in less than 2 months. Your strength will increase again. Aura energy determined the strength of a war god. Although the difference between the 7th heavenly layer and the 6th heavenly layer was only 1 heavenly layer, the difference in power was like heaven and earth. Every 3 levels formed a step, and the 7th level, it was quite strong. Of course, the difficulty of comprehending it was not small either. How is it, Duo? With my current strength, can I deal with that celestial dog? Lin Feng asked. What do you think? Duo laughed. Lin Feng smiled confidently. After 2 months of cultivation, as his strength increased, he was more and more confident. He was full of confidence. The celestial dog in the illusion was equivalent to a 9th stage demonic beast. When it used its innate ability, Celestial Dog Swallows the Sun, it could reach 12th stage demonic beast, which was equivalent to a 5th stage heavenly warrior. His strength as a war god was already around the 5th stage. Dealing with that celestial dog would be a piece of cake. Demonic Dragon Lair. In the deepest part of the north, in the sacred land of the Black Mist Demonic Dragon. The 5-colored boulder had already dimmed. The spiral-shaped air currents formed many vortexes, but they were already pure white mist without the slightest impurity. All the black aura had disappeared, and the Niden crystal embedded in the boulder was gone. It had all entered the little celestial dog's stomach and turned into energy. For more than 2 months, he didn't leave the house. The little celestial dog was curled up beside the 5-colored boulder. The aura on its 10-meter-long body condensed. Its flaming fur trembled slightly, as if it was enduring something. The little celestial dog's eyes flashed with stubbornness. Its wild nature made it full of fighting spirit. Its body seemed to be burning with flames. The breakthrough from the 3rd stage to the 4th stage. In just 2 months, the little celestial dog had almost completed it. All that was left was persevere until the end. The Black Mist Demonic Dragon Clan had gone through countless generations, but those who could successfully reach the 4th stage could be counted on one hand. Even the talented Refined Teeth was stuck at the 3rd stage and couldn't advance. However, the little celestial dog had casually broken through the 3rd stage in a daze. After spending 2 months, it almost reached the 4th stage. What an impressive talent! This was a top-notch bloodline. This was a rare genius of the Celestial Dog Clan. Even if there was no one to guide it, gold would always shine. It would never be buried in the mud. Paw! Paw! Its body exploded, and its bones kept changing. The little celestial hound howled hysterically. It was in great pain. The 4th stage of transformation was far more difficult and terrifying than the 3rd stage. At the 4th stage, the transformation was already half complete. The rest, as long as it could endure the lightning tribulation, it could successfully transform. Boom! Boom! The flames burned, and the flame mark on the little celestial dog's forehead shone. At this most critical moment, the top-notch bloodline unleashed its most powerful strength. Boom! Its body seemed to explode. Its lonely aura caused the flames to burn, and the little celestial dog stood up. The mark on its forehead became even more ferocious. The little celestial dog's eyes sparkled, and its dejection was swept away. Its flame-like fur was vigorous, and its appearance, like a lion or a dog, showed some maturity. Compared to 2 months ago, it seemed to be more attentive. The closer it was to transformation, the higher its spiritual intelligence. Howl. The howl was loud and clear. The little celestial dog moved with a whoosh like a phantom. Its speed was amazingly fast. The difference between the 3rd and 4th stages of transformation was like the difference between refined teeth and black skeleton. It was incomparably huge. Its body had completely transformed. The Alliance of Assassins. Martial Emperor, that kid Jupiter hasn't come out yet. Could it be? Green Flood Dragon asked hesitantly. Don't worry about him. It's good that he can come out alive, but if he can't, it's his fate, Martial Emperor said coldly. His face looked incomparably cold under the black robe. If there was value to be used, then use it. If there was no value to be used, then discard it. It was a very simple principle. Green Flood Dragon nodded. Birds of a feather flocked together. Suddenly, his eyes brightened. That's right, Martial Emperor, according to your instructions, we sent martial gods into the heavenly treasure world this month. The harvest is quite good. Of course. Martial Emperor's mouth twitched and he smiled. We haven't entered the heavenly treasure world for a few months. There must be a lot of heavenly treasure crystals. Now that Lin Feng took out such a large amount of heavenly treasure crystals, no one will pay attention to the small profits anymore. But for us, it's a good opportunity. Yes, many a little makes a mickle. Green Flood Dragon nodded. Controlling all the slots every month, the harvest is actually not small. Continue to do it. It won't be too late to take action after slowly observing the situation. Martial Emperor's eyes were bright like an old fox. Lin Feng will always make mistake. Yes, Martial Emperor. Green Flood Dragon cupped his hands and left. Heavenly Treasure World, Outer Layer. After resting for a full 2 months, the little celestial dog finally came out. This journey caused the little celestial dog's strength to increase crazily. Its loud roar echoed throughout the entire Heavenly Treasure World, causing the remaining Black Fog demon dragons to tremble in fear. Revenge? How? Did he have the strength to do so? It was already not bad that he had left a few lives behind and had not been killed. Stepping into the air, the little celestial dog turned into a light afterimage. Compared to when it first entered, its speed had increased by more than several times. From the innermost area to the outermost area of the outer layer, it was like taking a stroll for the little celestial dog. Its current strength was already unimaginably strong. Sniffing with the tip of its nose, the little celestial dog howled a few times to vent the excitement in its heart. After a while, it reached the outermost area. To the Black Mist demonic dragon clan, the white spatial barrier was an insurmountable cage. However, to the little celestial dog, it was useless. As early as when it had not transformed, its innate attack could already break through this layer of defense. Now, it was needless to say. A blazing flame gathered in the little celestial dog's mouth. Its astonishing energy aura was far stronger than before. It was several times stronger than the flames that Lin Feng had encountered in the illusion. The astonishing aura fluctuated. Even the air seemed to be burning, and the spatial layer shook violently. At this moment, a sudden change occurred. Inexplicably, a spatial crack suddenly appeared. The little celestial dog was stunned. It saw a white light flickering at the spatial crack. In an instant, an inexplicable, tiny creature appeared. What was that? Oh my God! The yellow-robed martial artist exclaimed. He did not expect to encounter a monster as soon as he entered the heavenly treasure world. His expression changed drastically. Before the yellow-robed martial artist could react, a huge fireball had already descended. In the blink of an eye, his body was engulfed. Buzz, the little celestial dog's eyes flickered as it stared at the spatial crack. The hidden memory in its mind inexplicably emerged. It seemed to have thought of something and felt a splitting headache. Little did it know that it had once descended on this foreign land like this. There was a strange feeling in its heart that encouraged the little celestial dog. Its eyes kept changing. It watched as the spatial crack became smaller and gradually disappeared. Suddenly, roar! The little celestial dog roared crazily. Its mind was completely controlled by the hidden memory. The little celestial dog immediately stepped on the ground and turned into a ray of light. It directly pierced through the spatial crack. In an instant, with a sizzling sound, the spatial crack slowly closed like an eye. The little celestial dog instantly disappeared from the heavenly treasure world. A storm in the Tianwu continent was about to strike. In May, Xiao Xiao wants to rush to complete the 10,000 chapters. Rise. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Qidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 313. Middle-level training space, Migres Palace. Even though the time ratio here was only 100, 3 hours a day was equivalent to 300 hours. It was a huge number. There was no time to rest while training in Migres Palace. Even though the body would be fully recovered every time he entered, the mental exhaustion couldn't be recovered. Fighting for a full 300 hours was an enormous challenge to any martial artist. It was a challenge to the heart. Perseverance was very difficult, but Lin Feng repeated this process every day. In the beginning, it was indeed tiring, but slowly it became a habit. Xiao! Xiao! White light shot out like shooting stars. Lin Feng, who was in the center, dodged to the limit. Every part of his body was tense, and his eyes were full of persistence. Even though he had been training for 300 hours, Lin Feng's mental state was still at the peak. Sustained battle concentration. This was very important for a martial artist. While dodging, he had to sense the attacks from other directions. Lin Feng, who was as fast as lightning, did his best. The whirlpool under his right foot constantly changed the direction of his body, but there were still many white lights that hit him. The number on the screen kept rising. Dodge control. Judgment of attacks. Extreme control of the body. This was movement training. Hua. The last white light passed through. This round of training was announced to be over. Lin Feng let out a long breath and stopped. Ding, a clear sound rang in his ears. Hit 99 times, failed. Do you want to restart? No. Lin Feng shook his head. It was about time. Every day he would train for 3 hours and the schedule was tight. Finally, I broke through the 100 mark. Lin Feng's eyes revealed a smile. This was a brand new breakthrough. He had been trapped in here for 3 consecutive days, which meant that he had spent 3,600 hours. Now, he had finally reached a new level. Looking at this speed, I might be able to break through the 3rd level in about a month. Lin Feng clenched his fist, and his eyes flashed with confidence. Previously, Duo had set a goal for himself to go as far as he could in the 3rd level, but now, they had exceeded their expectations. Even though the increase in my spear skills and devouring flames isn't beyond my expectations, it's still more than enough to defend myself. But the realm of the movement technique and the cultivation of the strategy of Emperor Shun exceeded my expectations. Not to mention that there are still 2 months left. Even now, I have absolute confidence. Lin Feng's eyes emitted a dazzling luster as he stepped out of the Migres Palace. The netherworld seal in his right hand flickered. Along with a beam of light, he returned to the netherworld ship. Hiss! Hiss! He controlled the devouring flame and kept burning the sparkling fire diamond. Xiao Chen's fiery aura continued to strengthen. As he sensed the improvement of his origin, His martial god cultivation also steadily increased. Why don't I see Toto today? Lin Feng looked around curiously. Originally, when he cultivated the devouring flame every day, Toto would accompany him and chat with him. Over the past few months, the relationship between him and Toto had gradually changed from that of strangers to that of friend. But today it seemed a little strange. Maybe he's busy, Lin Feng said, but he didn't pay too much attention to it. My devouring flame has already reached the 19th level, but there's still a distance to the 20th level. Lin Feng felt the ferocious power of the devouring flame, and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Compared to the devouring flame at the beginning, it was like heaven and earth. The devouring flame would undergo an obvious change every time it reached the 10th level. It was like stepping on a flight of stairs to a new level. It was the same for the 10th level and the 20th level. However, the amount of devouring flame required to advance from the 19th level to the 20th level was far greater than the amount required to advance from the 18th level to the 19th level. That day, Father predicted that my devouring flame would only reach the 10th level after a year. But at this speed, my devouring flame will reach the 20th level within a month. Father will definitely be very surprised. Lin Feng smiled faintly. Even he was very satisfied with the speed of his cultivation. Following the path that Duo had arranged for him, he steadily increased his strength. This was the difference between having a teacher and not having one. If he only relied on devouring beasts, he didn't know how long it would take for him to reach the 20th level. But now, the path ahead was completely illuminated. Soon, he would reach it. Continue. Every time the devouring flame becomes stronger, my strength will increase by a level. Within a month, I will break through this limit. Lin Feng's eyes were bright, and the devouring flame in his hand continued to grow stronger. His mind was incomparably firm. He had no way out. For the future of Sky Martial Continent, he would do his best. Heavenly treasure, primordial ruins. With the beast hordes rampage, this place had long become barren. In fact, with Lin Feng providing a large amount of heavenly treasure crystals, the martial gods only needed to cultivate in seclusion. There was no need to waste time entering the heavenly treasure primordial ruins. The once most expensive and rare heavenly treasure crystal had now become as cheap as a cabbage. Of course, the Assassins' Alliance was an exception. No one knew that because of their greed, they had completely changed the course of history. Let a terrifying demon king descend early. Buzz buzz, a strong spatial energy fluctuation. A crescent-shaped crack slowly expanded, and a small fiery red figure leaped out like a puppy. His body was less than a meter long and appeared extremely small. However, the flashing flame symbol on his forehead was filled with intense light. Ayo! A violent roar sounded. In an instant, the fiery red figure grew rapidly, from less than 1 meter, to 1 meter, then to 3 meters, then to 5 meters. Finally, with a crisp sound, the fiery red figure stabilized at 10 meters long, as if it was fixed in place. It looked like a lion and a dog, and it looked a little cold. Its sharp claws scratched the ground, and its eyes sparkled. Little heavenly dog. At the 4th level of manifestation, it could change its shape at will. Even if there was only a small crack in space, the little heavenly dog could still use it. It possessed terrifying power, the most brutal character, and the madness to slaughter everything it was here. High-grade cultivation space. Holding the Nightmare Demon Spear, Lin Feng held it with one hand and waved it lightly. The 18 basic spear moves were used one after another. It was very boring, but Lin Feng didn't feel bored at all. If one was truly immersed in the world of the spear, how could one feel that practicing the spear was a boring thing? Those who practiced the spear must persevere. The unity of man and spear is the fusion of the spear and the spear to unleash the greatest power of the spear. But what is returning to one's original state? Lin Feng had been thinking about this question, but he still didn't have an accurate answer. It was like a door in front of him, and he couldn't find the right key, causing his spear technique to be stuck in a bottleneck, unable to break through. It was very difficult to raise the spear technique from the 4th level to the 5th level. No, it should be said that it was very difficult. It's a pity if only teacher also used the spear. Dagger, Lin Feng pondered in his heart, and then he brushed it off. The love for the spear wasn't overnight. A martial artist couldn't change their obsession at will. How much could they achieve? Since others can reach that level, so can I. No matter how much time I spend, there will be a day when I will comprehend it. Lin Feng's eyes shone brightly, and the thought in his heart was incomparably firm. The nightmare demon's spear in his hand shook, and the intense dance created a flame-like radiance. An intense aura filled the sky, and his entire person and the nightmare demon's spear in his hand became one. The unity of man and spear, the perfect level. His right foot suddenly stepped forward, and his body instantly turned into a stream of light. Like an arrow shot out with a chi sound, it was as fast as the wind. All of his strength condensed on the nightmare demon's spear in his hand, and the fiery red aura formed an intense spear light. "Skybreak!" Lin Feng shouted. The spear light filled the air, and with a thrust of the spear, time seemed to stop. The red spear light soared into the sky. That spear turned complicated into simple, piercing through everything. It was so fast that it was silent. An extremely terrifying attack. Boom! The air seemed to be burning. Lin Feng's movements paused for a moment, and his expression was filled with an aura of solitude, flickering with brilliance. The nightmare demon's spear trembled lightly. It was a kind of excitement, a kind of soft hum of power, as if it had life, throbbing from the heart. The 7th level of the firmament spear art, the last level. There was only one move, and it was this move that was purely for offense. Skybreak. The perfect unity of man and spear. This is Senior Firmament's most offensive spear. Lin Feng's eyes shone brightly, and his right hand that held the nightmare demon's spear tightened. This was the strongest spear that he had grasped, and also the spear that he was most familiar with. The 7th level of the firmament spear art. He had completely cultivated every level, and could completely feel the spear intent and realm within. As if he was there, he could unleash the greatest power. Unfortunately, Senior Firmament was unable to create the 8th level. Lin Feng sighed softly. He understood in his heart that Senior Firmament was the same as him, stuck in the realm of man and spear as one, and could not advance further. The 5th level of spear arts, returning to the origin, it was very difficult. Perhaps I need an opportunity to break through, Lin Feng muttered to himself. He let out a long sigh and was about to continue practicing. Suddenly, "Come back quickly, Lin Feng," a voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Lin Feng paused, feeling incomparably shocked. Although he had complete control of the Netherworld ship, Toto had never said such words to him. In the process of cultivation, it was easy to interrupt the comprehension. But now, what happened, Toto? Lin Feng frowned and asked. In his heart, there was a faint sense of anxiety, as if something terrible had happened. It was a kind of danger that made his heart tremble. There was complete silence. Thump, thump. Lin Feng's heart beat faster. At this moment, Toto's voice suddenly sounded, and with a hint of gloominess, Lin Feng's eyes instantly lit up. "It's coming. The final boss of the first world, Descend. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation." Chapter 314. The Netherworld Ship. Lin Feng looked at the huge light screen with a solemn expression. He saw a fiery red monster that was 10 meters long. It looked like a lion and a dog. It looked confused as it moved around. Its claws flashed coldly as it stepped into the air. It did not face any resistance. Those cold eyes were filled with a deep cold-bloodedness. Cold and cruel. How similar! It was deeply imprinted in Lin Feng's heart. He had never forgotten it. It was almost the same as the heavenly hound in the illusion. However, one was 100 meters long, while this one was only 10 meters long. However, the flame mark on its forehead was deeper and more shocking. Why did it appear in advance? Lin Feng frowned and his heartbeat quickened. See for yourself. Duo's hands moved and the light screen changed. Lin Feng's eyes brightened. The cave in front of him looked familiar. He seemed to have seen it somewhere before. Suddenly, he was stunned. Lin Feng said in surprise, "The heavenly treasure ancient ruins?" Before he finished speaking, 5 figures suddenly appeared in the originally empty space. Lin Feng's eyes brightened. He had never seen these warriors before. While he was puzzled, he suddenly saw the mark on one of the warriors' shoulder. His heart thumped and his eyes turned cold. He clenched his teeth. The Assassin's Alliance? It was too familiar. The symbol of the mark touched his heart deeply. Before he became a titled martial god, he had an unresolvable hatred with the Assassin's Alliance. Until now, he still had a deep hatred. Suddenly, the space shook and 5 bright spots shone. Lin Feng's eyes turned cold. He immediately understood what the 5 wanted to do. They entered the heavenly treasure world to get the heavenly treasure crystal. But, what did this have to do with the appearance of the heavenly hound? Lin Feng's face was solemn. He saw the 5 people enter the light spot. The white light slowly shrank and became a thin crack. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared one by one. However, when it was the last light spot, Pata, the crescent crack that was about to disappear was actually slowly expanding. It felt as if it was being pushed up by a powerful force, and a small fiery red figure actually dashed out. Little Tengu. It landed on the ground and grew in size almost instantaneously. In the blink of an eye, the figure that was less than 1 meter long became that astonishing figure that was 10 meters long. Oh my God, the 4th level of manifestation? Lin Feng felt his mouth go dry and his heartbeat quickened. Lin Feng had once read the Transfiguration Secrets manual, so he was very familiar with the transfiguration of magical beasts. Only after reaching the 4th realm of form transformation would a magical beast be able to freely change its shape, changing its size according to its will. And in this realm, he was close to achieving complete transformation. But how is this possible? Lin Feng stared at Plenty in shock. According to Toto, it was impossible for the celestial hound to transform. He is indeed at the 4th level of manifestation. Although I don't know how this celestial hound managed to transform, the truth is right before our eyes. Looking at Lin Feng, Plenty's voice was a little low. It should have come through that space-time rift. Damn it! Lin Feng gritted his teeth. He didn't expect that the originally good situation would turn into a mess. The worst situation had appeared. Heavenly treasure, primordial ruins. The cave was very big and wide, and the path was very complicated. It was like a maze. The little celestial hound kept darting around, but it seemed to be circling in place, and it looked a little impatient. The little celestial hound's eyes were cold, and it roared from time to time. Its loud voice echoed throughout the cave. Hum! An astonishing fireball condensed. The little celestial hound finally lost its patience, and a powerful force gathered in its mouth. In an instant, boom! The huge fireball exploded with a terrifying power. Boom! 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 One after another, the little celestial hound was hysterical. How could the heavenly treasure primordial ruins withstand such destruction? Rocks flew everywhere and the cave was blasted into pieces. Large pieces of rocks kept falling, but before they could get close to the little celestial hound, they were burned to ashes. The little celestial hound stood there, and its eyes shone with a cold light. Its sinister teeth looked extremely ferocious. Rumble! The cave collapsed. In a cloud of dust, a fiery red figure floated in the air. The little celestial hound had come out. Roar! As if venting its displeasure, the little celestial hound roared crazily. Its sinister eyes looked around, and it seemed to be a little confused about this place. The little celestial hound sniffed as if it had sensed something. It looked up, and in an instant, it stepped into the air and disappeared without a trace. Oh no! Lin Feng's expression changed drastically. The heavenly treasure Primordial Ruins was located in the inner region of the Tianwu continent. It was the territory of the Tianwu army. Although more than 50% of the humans in the Tianwu continent were gathered in the 4 royal cities, there were still close to 50% scattered in various cities. This was especially so for the Hunter Organization and the Tianwu army. Their geographical locations were excellent, and they had not been attacked by beast hordes. On the other hand, the 5 Great Sects Alliance had been razed to the ground except for the 5 Origins royal city. But now, the little celestial hound was heading towards the territory of the Tianwu army. With its destructive power, once it entered, what awaited the humans would be a baptism of blood. Hua! Lin Feng gritted his teeth as he dashed forward. No matter what, he could not watch as the humans of the Tianwu continent were slaughtered like this. Fight! At this moment, Duoduo's body flashed and blocked the door. Duo! Lin Feng's expression changed, and he stopped. Don't be rash. Duoduo's expression was serious as he spread out his small white hands. You're just sending yourself to death. Lin Feng gritted his teeth and shook his head stubbornly. No matter what, I can't watch a tragedy happen. Even if there's only a sliver of hope, I won't give up. Don't stop me, Duo. I won't change my mind. The thoughts in his heart had always been firm. For the sake of protecting the Tianwu continent, for the sake of the name Hunter, Lin Feng had always been working hard. Is it worth it? Duoduo's expression changed. It's worth it. Lin Feng's voice was resolute and decisive. To him, this was his responsibility, a man's vow. To protect the Tianwu continent. Duo sighed helplessly and bitterly smiled. That day I chose you as my successor because I saw you as a person of flesh and blood, as well as your emotional nature. Although today's matter was unexpected, it was still within my expectations. Lin Feng was silent, but he could understand Duoduo's words. Even if the celestial hound did not appear today, it would still appear in a month. Although the gears of history had deviated slightly, what should happen would still happen. I'll help you. Duoduo's voice rang in his ears. Lin Feng's eyes instantly lit up, and his anxious heart slowly calmed down. With Duoduo's words, there was no doubt that there was a sliver of hope. But, is there a chance to win? Lin Feng pursed his lips, wanting to get a definite answer from Duoduo's expression, but he was disappointed. Duo shook his head noncommittally and slowly said, I can only do my best. This celestial hound's strength has already far exceeded my initial estimation. Lin Feng's expression was solemn. Indeed, the 4th level of transformation. This was something that he had never expected. Unimaginable. But if you go now, you will definitely die. Duoduo's eyes shone brightly. Lin Feng's heart sank to the bottom of the valley. But in his heart, he was very clear that what Duo said was the truth. Transformation, every increase in realm was equivalent to an increase in strength by 1 level. The 4th level of transformation was equivalent to an increase of 4 levels. A young celestial hound's strength was around the 9th level of the Emperor realm. The 4th level of transformation was already beyond the 12th level of the Emperor realm, reaching the 6th level of the Star River realm. And the innate ability Celestial Hound Swallows the Sun was an attack that surpassed 3 levels. It was equivalent to the attack of the 2nd level of the Star Sea realm. With his current strength, how could he block it? Unless Lin Feng suddenly raised his head and looked into Duoduo's eyes. The exchange of glances confirmed his thoughts. Only by blocking its celestial hound swallows the sun will you have a chance of survival. Dwudwa's eyes shone brightly. External support, no matter how strong it is useless. Block the celestial hound swallows the sun. With Lin Feng's current strength, you might be able to barely resist this celestial hound. Maybe a miracle will happen. Dwudwa's words went straight to his heart. Lin Feng's heart instantly sped up. But the foundation of everything was built on one big premise: block the celestial hound swallows the sun. Sky Martial Continent at the border. Under the lead of Lin Feng's secret clone, the human warriors obtained another great victory. Huang Mang, Laughing Buddha, Thunderbolt and the others returned triumphantly. Their faces all had carefree smiles that came from the bottom of their hearts. Not long ago they all thought that the Sky Martial Continent would be destroyed. But they did not expect to be saved. After Lin Feng's arrival, everything changed. Show who? Show who? Everyone returned, looking at Lin Feng with reverence that came from the bottom of their hearts. But they found that the Lin Feng today was very different. In the past, after a great victory, Lin Feng would always have a faint smile on his face. But today, he was very different. Thunderbolt. Lin Feng's eyes shone brightly. Present, Thunderbolt replied, his expression solemn. Immediately evacuate all humans in the Sky Martial Army's territory. Lin Feng's expression was grave as he shouted, immediately. The sooner the better. Thunderbolt was stunned. Everyone was stunned, including Lan Yu and Tianqing. They did not understand what was going on. Quickly, Lin Feng gritted his teeth, his eyes bloodshot. Time. He needed enough time, but there was no other way. Although he knew that casualties were unavoidable, but every minute he could delay was a minute, and every minute he could save was a minute. Just as Duo had said, he was the Sky Martial Continent's only hope. If he wanted to kill the Heavenly Hound, he had to be fully prepared. For this battle, no matter the price he had to pay, he had to win. Next chapter. The battle begins. Little May's battle also begins. Fight to the death. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 3:15. Yes, show who. Thunderbolt's expression was solemn as he left. Without any hesitation or question, Thunderbolt completely obeyed Lin Feng's orders. Laughing Buddha you. Lin Feng's gaze swept over them. Yes. The two of them had a stern expression. Cooperate with Thunderbolt, try your best to reduce the casualties. Lin Feng pursed his lips, his eyes were bloodshot. Reduce the casualties? Everyone's heart tightened as they looked at each other. For Lin Feng to say such words, one could only imagine what kind of terrifying thing was about to happen. One must know, even when facing the beast rampage alone, Lin Feng was able to easily deal with it, without any pressure, as if he did not even use his full strength. But now, yes, show who. Laughing Buddha and you replied. Lin Feng was already the leader of the humans. After the three of them left, only Tianqing, Azura, Bing Shuang and the other newly advanced Sky Realm warriors remained. All of them looked at Lin Feng with a solemn expression. Everyone wanted to know what had happened to make Lin Feng, who had always been calm, so abnormal. It's here. Lin Feng said solemnly. Everyone widened their eyes, not understanding what was going on. A monster that can destroy the Sky Martial Continent. Lin Feng sighed deeply. Looking into the distance, he frowned. Inside the Netherworld ship, Lin Feng's original body was currently using the devouring flame to burn a transparent armor. Chi! The flames were ferocious. Lin Feng seemed a little anxious. He was in a sealed space, and the armor kept making buzzing sounds as if it had a life of its own. However, there was nowhere to hide. Quick! I need to be quick! Lin Feng clenched his teeth as he madly urged the devouring flame. But he had already reached his limit. Soul artifact, reverse rotation armor. With your current strength, you are unable to wear it. The only possibility is, Lin Feng thought back to what Plenty had said, and he used all of his power to sustain the devouring flame, which increased his hope by a bit. The reverse spiral armor was an armor that had been fused with the Tao of space, and it possessed extremely powerful combat abilities. Put it on. Although I can't use it, but it's enough to rely on the original characteristics of the reverse spiral armor. Lin Feng's eyes lit up as he nodded. This was the only hope to resist the heavenly dog swallows the sun. The heavenly dog swallows the sun is a special kind of spatial talent. There are endless alternate dimensions within the body, which establish a close and subtle connection with the body. But it's not without flaws. After all, it's just a gift. Talent was not equivalent to true attack power. More importantly, it was a gift from the heavens. Although its power was boundless, it was ultimately built on the foundation of one's own strength. There's still a sliver of hope. If that celestial hound breaks through to the 4th level of manifestation, then it will truly be the end of the world. Lin Feng's chest heaved up and down, his eyes filled with determination and persistence. No matter what, he would not give up. Even if he was far weaker than that celestial hound, for his family, for the Tianwu continent, he had to fight. Sky City. All the martial gods were gathered together, staring at the giant screen. Is that it, Lindigo? Zi Yao's beautiful eyes twinkled, and they seemed even more profound than before. Her strength had greatly increased. The current Zi Yao was second only to Lin Feng in strength. Yes, Lin Feng nodded. He stared at the 10-meter-long celestial hound on the screen. It had already entered the Tianwu army's territory. It was too fast. Most of the people in Jingxiang town have already evacuated, Blue said. Is this little fellow really that powerful? Lil Sword felt rather curious. Everyone looked at Lin Feng in confusion. At this moment, on the screen, the small celestial hound howled. Its body suddenly grew larger, and it opened its bloody mouth. In an instant, one giant fireball after another was spat out of its mouth. It did not need any time to gather them, and its speed was astonishing. Boom, boom, boom. Intense fireballs bombarded the small town. Every time a fireball fell, there would be a violent explosion that spread out in all directions. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Thick flames rose with the wind, appearing even more ferocious. All the houses in Jingxiang town were set ablaze. In just a short while, the entire town had become a sea of fire. Hoarse shouts and cries for help rose and fell, but they were instantly drowned out by the flames. Heavens! Blue's mouth was agape as she exclaimed. How terrifying! Tianqing's beautiful eyes were profound. Everyone felt their hearts palpitate. After becoming a martial god, they had a clearer understanding of their strength. Those astonishing flames were far beyond what they could handle. But, however, that monster was able to use it effortlessly. That's a celestial hound. One of the top 5 bloodlines. Lin Feng looked at everyone and said in a low voice, and it's still in its infancy. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air as they looked at the terrifying monster roaring like a child. It felt as if it was playing. Soon, as the flames spread throughout Jingxiang town and burned it to ashes, the small celestial hound stepped into the air and disappeared. It went to Longfei City, Zi Yao said softly, a trace of worry flashing in her eyes. 60% of the people in Longfei City have not been evacuated. Blue pursed her lips, looking extremely worried. There were too many people. There was not enough time. Although Thunderbolt and the others had done their best, the efficiency of the teleportation array was limited. What should we do? Everyone looked at Lin Feng. Shaking his head, Lin Feng felt as if needles were pricking him, but he could only wait anxiously. Lin Feng, are you not confident? Fong Ning hesitated for a moment before asking the question that was on everyone's mind. We will definitely lose. Lin Feng frowned. He was very clear what would happen if he did not wear the reverse rotation armor. Once the celestial hound used the heavenly dog swallowing the sun, which was comparable to a star sea level, what awaited him was death. It did not matter if he died, but it would cause the entire sky martial continent to be destroyed. Everyone looked at each other. They did not expect such an answer. Then even Tian Qing, who was usually calm, was at a loss for words. Show who, let's fight it. Blue clenched her fists, her eyes filled with fighting spirit. Once she said that, everyone agreed. Facing such a terrifying monster, not only did they not lose their confidence, their fighting spirit was even boiling. Now that they were here, none of them were cowards. All the warriors, in order to protect the sky martial continent, in order to protect the entire human race. They were willing to give up their lives. Wait. Lin Feng spat out a word and stopped Blue. Against it, human wave tactics are useless. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Wait for another 6 hours, and I will be able to make the final preparations for battle. This battle, let me fight it. His voice resounded in everyone's ears. Lin Feng's eyes flickered with coldness, filled with a resolute aura. Time passed by minute. Sky martial continent entered a new round of panic. Cities and towns were destroyed one after another, countless humans were devoured. The terror of the celestial hound caused everyone to tremble in fear, dumbstruck. The huge long-faced city, in less than a minute, turned into nothingness. Not even a blade of grass was left. What shocking destructive power! This was a true, evil demon. Paper could not contain fire. The appearance of a monster comparable to an evil demon instantly spread throughout the entire sky martial continent. Everyone was discussing animatedly. But although they were afraid, they were still confident. Because they had the protection of a hero. No matter how dangerous the situation was, they had already passed. Every time, their hero would appear at the most critical moment, saving them from the fire and water. This time, it would not be an exception. Just a little more. Just a little more. Lin Feng clenched his teeth, his eyes sparkling, staring straight at the reverse spiral armor. At this moment, the transparent color was already trembling, as if it was very weak. The humming sound continued. Soon, Lin Feng roared. He could not wait any longer. Watching as cities and towns were destroyed one after another, his heart seemed to be broken into pieces. He wished he could immediately fight. At this moment, purring! A light explosion sounded. Lin Feng was startled. His eyes instantly lit up. He was ecstatic. Finally it was done. Pah! The devouring fire disappeared in the blink of an eye. Lin Feng appeared in front of the reverse spiral armor, fresh blood dripping from his wrist. Plop, plop. The dripping of blood seemed to have awakened a small life. The throbbing in his heart suddenly surged, as if he had touched a strange feeling. In an instant, a bright light appeared. Lin Feng suddenly trembled, only to feel that the surface of his body was covered by a layer of transparent armor. The special patterns formed a strange and powerful energy, far beyond his range of perception. Those ethereal patterns had a special energy aura that made one's heart tremble. This was the reverse spiral armor. Clenching his fists, he felt the changes in his body. Lin Feng's eyes were incomparably bright. In the city in the sky. This beast. Damn it. Everyone was incomparably anxious. Watching the cities and towns being destroyed and the humans being devoured, their hearts were heavy. But there was no other way, they could only sit and wait. Strength. Without strength, even if they went, they would be courting death. At this moment, the little celestial hound destroyed another large city at lightning speed. Countless humans died, and the entire city was burned by the raging flames, turning into ruins. The little celestial hound moved again, heading west. Not good. It's Fengzhou County. One of the 16 counties. It had the largest population base under the imperial city. Shouhu. We can't wait any longer, Shouhu. Everyone's eyes were filled with anxiety. They stood up anxiously, their expressions constantly changing. Once Fengzhou County was destroyed, the little celestial hound would definitely go straight for the 4 imperial cities. At that time, the Sky Martial Continent would really be finished. Right at this moment, all right. Lin Feng stood up, his eyes filled with a clear light, his fighting spirit boiling. Seeing Lin Feng's body slowly disappear, everyone was not shocked, but happy, clenching their fists, their eyes filled with surprise. Lin Feng had finally completed his battle preparations. A battle with the Celestial Hound. Begin. Roar, to be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 316. Hua! His body trembled slightly. As if overlapping, the 2 Lin Fengs slowly merged. In an instant, they merged into one. Very good. Clenching his fists, Lin Feng's eyes shone brightly. This feeling was quite good. This was the most important battle, and he could not afford to be careless. He had to fight in his best condition and with his strongest strength. If he did not succeed, he would die trying. I'm going, Toto. Lin Feng looked at the young child's face and said in a deep voice. After these days of interaction, he had already established a faint friendship with Toto. Come back alive. Toto nodded. I will. Lin Feng's eyes shone. He would definitely not lose. No, it should be. He could not lose. Stepping out, Lin Feng immediately turned around and flew towards the door. Hua! Following a flash of white light, he disappeared in an instant. Looking at the empty main cabin and the direction Lin Feng walked towards, Toto sighed softly. Do your best, Lin Feng. He had no confidence. Even if he did his best to block the little heavenly dog's strongest move, the heavenly dog swallows the sun. But its strength was still top-notch. The 4th stage of the manifestation realm was definitely not ordinary. However, there were many things that he had to do. Patian City. Ziyao, Lin Feng called softly. The beauty in front of him was still as beautiful as ever, like a blooming violet. However, on her beautiful face, there was an additional look of sharing the burden. Linda Go you. Ziyao bit her lips. Are you confident? Lin Feng wanted to say something but stopped. He sighed softly. It would be a lie to say that he was confident. Facing Ziyao, he did not know what to say. Looking at Lin Feng's expression, Ziyao smiled lightly. I understand, Lin Degu. Her bright eyes flickered with the light of wisdom. Others might not understand Lin Feng, but Ziyao was very clear. Ziyao took a light step forward and hugged Lin Feng tightly, as if she was afraid of losing him. There were thousands of words that needed to be said. Ziyao. Lin Feng felt a strong sense of warmth. The beautiful woman in his arms trembled slightly, her heart filled with worry. Ziyao raised her head and a smile appeared on her beautiful face. Lin Degu, promise me that you will come back, right? Yes, I will definitely come back. Lin Feng nodded. For Ziyao, for his family, this battle, he would definitely win. Wait for me, Ziyao. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. He bent down and gently touched her soft lip. Feeling the sweet fragrance and the deep affection of the beauty in his arms, his heart inexplicably gained a bit of strength, confidence, and determination. Then, Lin Feng turned around and stepped into the teleportation array. Fengzhou County, one of the 16 counties in Tianwu Continent. It was a mountain range in Pangran. This was the inland region of Tianwu Continent, the territory of the Tianwu Army. At this moment, under the full mobilization of the Thunderbolt Army, the entire Fengzhou County was busy. Teleportation arrays were set up one after another, and people were constantly being transported. Everyone had already witnessed the strength of the small heavenly dog. A city could be razed to the ground in less than a minute. It was even more terrifying than a beast army. People called it the evil demon. Indeed, the actions of the small heavenly dog were no different from the evil demon. But with the existence of the evil demon and the darkness, there would definitely be light and hope. In each of the 4 great royal cities, a black figure appeared in the sky screen of each city. His appearance was not outstanding, but he emitted a sense of righteousness. His body was not tall and sturdy, but it gave people a deep sense of security. He carried a scabbard on his back and wore a black martial attire. He was the most revered existence in Tianwu continent. Hero Lin Feng. He was the symbol of Tianwu continent. He was the pinnacle existence of all human martial artists. Cheers and cheers were unceasing. In Tianwu continent, Lin Feng's prestige had already reached the pinnacle. The hero's song was sung in every corner of Tianwu continent. Everyone's eyes were burning as they looked at the black figure in the sky with reverence from the bottom of their hearts. As long as Lin Feng was here, there was nothing to be afraid of. Although Lin Feng could not hear it, his fighting spirit was already boiling. For today's battle, he had waited for a very long time. The battle in the illusion was still fresh in his mind, as though it was deeply engraved in his bones. This time, I will definitely not lose. Lin Feng's gaze was profound as he looked into the distance. He could feel a strong force supporting him. That was faith, that was obsession, the hope of everyone in Tianwu continent. Right at this moment, Lin Feng's eyes lit up. In his vision, a red figure slowly appeared. It's finally here. Lin Feng's lips curled up as he let out a long sigh. He placed his right hand on the spear's hilt. In an instant, the nightmare demon's spear was unsheathed. It brought with it the sound of the wind and vibrated gently, as though it could feel his fighting spirit. Buddy, today is your first battle. Lin Feng's right hand caressed the smooth body of the spear as he smiled. There seemed to be a special connection between him and the nightmare demon's spear. After continuously cultivating in the high-grade cultivation space, he had already become one with the nightmare demon's spear, reaching the perfect state of man and spear as one. Although returning to one was still out of reach, but it was enough. Roar! It roared towards the sky. The small Tianquan noticed Lin Feng's existence. There was a hint of caution in his cold eyes, but more than that, there was a cruel murderous intent. Just as Duo had said, the wild Tianquan only had its instincts and personality. Cruel and bloodthirsty. Qi. A shocking fireball ignited. Almost in an instant it blasted out like a violent meteor. But Lin Feng was already prepared. Swoosh! The moment the origin of fire gathered, Lin Feng moved. He took advantage of the gap between the two. Lin Feng's eyes shone brightly. He stepped out with his right foot, bringing with it a violent gust of wind. He shouted, "Wind vortex!" Thousands of small holes erupted at the same time. As the black fog fluctuated, Lin Feng's figure became incomparably illusory. Like a ghost in the dark, he suddenly erupted. His strength was fully displayed. So fast! What a terrifying spear technique realm! God, what kind of attack is that? In the city in the sky, all the martial gods trembled as they watched Lin Feng launch his attack. That ghostly figure almost didn't have a physical body. The explosive power and speed were perfectly combined. Lin Feng's strength made everyone turn pale with fright. They had always seen Lin Feng's secret doppelganger controlling soul practitioner weapons, but they had never seen Lin Feng's strength as a heaven martial artist. Now it was finally an eye-opener. Attack when it's unprepared. The first attack was the best opportunity. Skybreaker! Lin Feng suddenly shouted. With a serious expression, Emperor Shun's aura appeared, forming a true dragon's transparent aura flame. He stepped forward and directly penetrated the fireball. The tip of the spear condensed an astonishing devouring fire and stabbed at the little celestial hound. Fast, accurate, and ruthless, he attacked with all his strength. Roar! The little celestial hound was furious. It didn't expect this scene. It couldn't dodge in time and was caught off guard. The little celestial hound's expression changed drastically. It tried its best to dodge, but it was too late. Chi! The nightmare demon's spear pierced through the little celestial hound's back, sending pieces of flesh flying. The little celestial hound instantly roared crazily. Its cry was earth-shattering and blood spurted out. However, Lin Feng frowned. The nightmare demon's spear had just broken through the little celestial hound's defense and pierced 3 inches, but it couldn't go any further. What a terrifying defense! Lin Feng was shocked. Although his devouring fire had reached the 19th level, but it only injured the little celestial hound. This defense was too shocking. Bang! The little celestial hound was hysterical and angry. Its sharp claws swiped at Lin Feng as fast as the wind. However, Lin Feng's reaction was very fast. After his attack missed, he immediately dodged backward, not giving the little celestial hound much of a chance. His body's defense wasn't as abnormal as the little celestial hound's. He couldn't afford to be careless. The 4th level of manifestation is really terrifying. Lin Feng's eyes were deep. Just now was the best opportunity. Taking advantage of the little celestial hound's underestimation, he originally hoped to kill it in one blow. If not, it would be good to heavily injure it. However, things didn't go as he wished. In the end, he only lightly injured the little celestial hound. No wonder Duo told me to come back alive, Lin Feng said. Only after facing it head-on did he know how strong this celestial hound was. It was far beyond his expectations. Roar! The shocking roar was deafening. Lin Feng's eyes shone brightly. His mind was completely focused. At this time, the celestial hound was extremely angry. It had never suffered such a heavy injury and lost so much blood. The little celestial hound's eyes were filled with blood-red light. Its strong killing intent was accompanied by a shocking whistling sound as it shuttled back and forth like lightning. A cold light shot towards Lin Feng, full of power. So fast! Lin Feng couldn't help but tremble. The little celestial hound's speed was actually twice as fast as his. In that instant, Lin Feng seemed to have returned to the time when he was training in the Migres Palace. It was almost an instinctive reaction. The feeling of control followed him like a shadow. His body slightly dodging by a hair's breadth. At this time, the little celestial hound's left claw attacked again. Swoosh! Lin Feng flashed past like a soft cloud that couldn't withstand any force. Whoosh! 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 The claw shadows filled the sky as it attacked continuously. The little celestial hound was hysterical, but every attack was easily dodged by Lin Feng. Like a nimble loach, he did not even touch the slightest bit. The astonishing realm of his movement technique made people gasp in amazement. Oh my God! What movement technique is that? So fast, in Sky City, everyone exclaimed. They were completely attracted by the battle in front of them. The intensity of the battle made their hearts tremble. A battle between true experts. Huang Meng, the smiling Buddha, and the others all had their mouths wide open. They were so shocked that they couldn't speak. They had thought that they were strong enough after easily slaughtering the army of beasts. However, looking at the battle in front of them, they suddenly realized that they were like frogs at the bottom of a well. They couldn't see the sky from afar. Whether it was Lin Feng or the little celestial hound, they were both astonishingly strong. Starting from May to reach 10,000 words. Brothers and sisters, Xiao Xiao shamelessly asked for a few double monthly votes to increase her reputation. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Qidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 3:17. The more it fought, the more anxious it became. The little celestial dog attacked with all its might, as if it was crazy. As for Lin Feng, he was at a disadvantage, and kept dodging. Although the little celestial dog's attack speed was extremely fast, Lin Feng, with the help of his talent Black Fog, completely displayed the movement technique that he trained in the Migres Palace. As light as a feather, his body was as light as a floating cloud. The little celestial dog's attack was fast and fierce, but its attack frequency was not comparable to the third level of the Migres Palace. I can block it. Lin Feng's eyes were serious. Its attacks have become hurried, and its pace is disorderly. Lin Feng was very clear, because he could easily find the little celestial dog's weakness. But he couldn't use it. These seemingly weak points, because of the little celestial dog's speed and attack frequency, became one trap after another. If he launched an attack, the rhythm would be disrupted, waiting for him. It would be the little celestial dog's thunderous attack. Perhaps he could injure the little celestial dog, but at the same time the little celestial dog could injure him even more. With the strength equivalent to a sky martial artist's 6th level galaxy level, the little celestial dog's every attack was beyond his tolerance range. It was not worth it to fight head-on. His defense was far inferior to the little celestial dog. I can only wait slowly. The real weakness will definitely appear. Lin Feng's eyes were deep, and he dodged lightly in the black fog without using any strength. These few months, he had been fighting in the Migres Palace for 300 hours every day. Even if it was the last 2 hours, he would not be the least bit distracted. In terms of endurance, Lin Feng had absolute confidence in himself. Wait. It was a competition of patience. Lin Feng indeed had patience, but it did not mean that the little celestial dog had it too. After attacking for a long time without success, the little celestial dog was completely hysterical and angry. A huge fireball condensed in its mouth and shot everywhere. As Lin Feng dodged again and again, the little celestial dog's eyes flashed with a thick blood-red color and finally used its trump card, Celestial Dog Swallows the Sun. A fierce roar resounded through the sky. It was like a huge black hole, crazily releasing a suction force, squeezing everything. It was a terrifying attack that exceeded the gap of 3 levels. Not good, he's using a big move. Lan shouted in alarm. Damn it. Not this again. Huang Liang cursed. All the martial gods wore solemn expressions as their heartbeats quickened. After witnessing the little celestial hound's strength, everyone was well aware of its attack methods and power. This heavenly dog swallows the sun was almost unbreakable. The terrifying suction force was completely unstoppable. The little heavenly dog's stomach seemed to have endless space, and it could absorb anything. This extremely overbearing attack caused everyone to be overwhelmed with shock. All of them widened their eyes as they looked at the light screen. Ziyao's beautiful eyes flickered. Her fingers that were clutching her dress trembled slightly. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't worried. Do your best, Lin De Go. Ziyao prayed in her heart beating extremely fast. As if hearing her prayer, the scene in front of her suddenly changed. Everyone sucked in a breath of air, and in an instant, they burst into loud and brisk laughter, as if they were relieved of a heavy burden. Lin Feng was as steady as Mount Tai as he retreated far away. A faint shadow appeared around his body, resisting the suction force without falling into a disadvantageous position. He blocked it. This time I'm really lucky, Lin Feng thought to himself. Reverse rotation armor. The 2 layers of energy collided and formed a repulsion force. The strange patterns released an extreme amount of energy, completely blocking the terrifying heavenly dog swallows the sun. The swirling vortex seemed to have a life of its own, as if it had come alive. Lin Feng immediately felt his heart throbbing. I'm not afraid. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. What he was most worried about was this heavenly dog swallows the sun, which attacked indiscriminately. But now it had completely blocked it. Whoosh! Lin Feng's body streaked across the sky, leaving afterimages behind. His eyes instantly changed. Under the control of his life spirit, the Qilin fire centipede in his left hand burned crazily. The dragon's eyes were bright, and an extremely powerful devouring fire suddenly rose up. Bang! Bang! Rise! Lin Feng shouted. The devouring fire turned into a fireball, which was not inferior to the little heavenly dogs at all. With the divine beast astrolabe, the control of the phoenix's flames, Lin Feng's control of fire, it was equally outstanding. The fireball was as fast as the wind. The little heavenly dog's hoarse roar could be heard. The strange blue flames condensed in the devouring fire. In an instant, it completely exploded. Bang! The sound of an explosion shook people's hearts. All the martial gods and people widened their eyes, holding their breaths as they stared at the light screen. Their hearts seemed to have stopped beating with the explosion. Gulp sounds could be heard as people swallowed their saliva. They prayed in their hearts, hoping that this shocking move would be able to eliminate that demon. But its aura hasn't weakened. Lin Feng looked serious. Floating in the air, Lin Feng looked at the area covered by the flames. He knew very well what was going on. He had merely injured it again. In an instant, roar! The angry roar resounded through the sky. Under the cover of the flames, a monster with hair all over its body rushed out. It crazily attacked Lin Feng. Good! Lin Feng was not shocked but happy. The little heavenly dog's movement technique was completely messed up, and it was dizzy with anger. Although its attacks were fierce, they could not do anything to him. On the contrary, because of the rapid attacks, its stamina was depleted even faster, and flaws appeared even more. Boom! 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 Fighting all the way, Lin Feng switched to the human soul heart state. The existence of the black fog allowed Lin Feng to move with ease. Although he could not perform complicated spear moves, the results of his cultivation in the advanced cultivation space over the past few months were completely displayed. The 18 basic spear moves, with the devouring fire condensed, injured the little heavenly dog again and again. Like water dripping on a stone, little drops made a mickle. My chance is here. Lin Feng knew very well. If the current situation continued to develop, it would be more and more advantageous to him. However, bang! With a violent collision sound, the little heavenly dog stopped. Its chest kept rising and falling, and its body was injured one after another. The little heavenly dog's eyes were bloody. It regained its calmness. Oh no! Lin Feng felt a chill in his heart. He vaguely felt a sense of danger. The heavenly dog in front of him was full of a terrifying aura. To be able to stop in such a fierce battle and control its brutality and bloodlust, it was definitely not ordinary. The little heavenly dog looked at Lin Feng, and its rising and falling chest slowly calmed down. There were many injuries on its body, and it was dripping with blood, but they were only superficial wounds. The little heavenly dog's eyes were constantly changing, full of strong hatred, but it seemed to have comprehended something in the battle. All of a sudden, crack, crack. Its body shrank rapidly. At the fourth stage of transformation, the little heavenly dog's control of its body had long been at its will. Not good. Lin Feng looked horrified. Others did not know, but he knew very well what the shrinking of his body meant. He had originally angered the little heavenly dog, but he did not expect it to return to normal. Whoosh! The little heavenly dog moved. As fast as lightning, its body, which was only 1 meter long, shrank to the extreme. Its speed was more than several times faster than before. So fast! Lin Feng was shocked. The little heavenly dog's speed was completely beyond his expectations. It pierced through the black fog, and light flashed in front of him. Sharp shawl. The wind vortex under his right foot lit up, and Lin Feng quickly retreated. In just a few seconds, the nightmare demon's spear in his hand turned into a red light, forming a solid defense line. But the little heavenly dog's attack was too fast, too fierce, and too terrifying. Bang! A claw fell. A huge force came from the spear, causing Lin Feng's hand to go numb instantly. The terrifying force penetrated the nightmare demon's spear's defense, penetrated the reverse spiral armor, and hit his chest like a heavy punch. Oh my God! Lin Feng's face turned pale, and he quickly retreated. And in an instant, that terrifying cold light appeared again. Deceleration space. Lin Feng's eyes were calm, and the surging heaven and earth chi was released, instantly wrapping around the little heavenly dog, causing its attack to slow down. Taking advantage of this short gap, Lin Feng's figure flashed continuously, regaining control, and found a chance to breathe. What terrifying speed! Lin Feng was shocked. I can't block it at all. Although the power has weakened a lot, but it's still not something I can withstand. Lin Feng gritted his teeth and retreated. The transformation mystic record mentioned that the fourth realm of transformation can shrink to 1 meter in length, greatly increasing one's speed, but weakening one's attack and defense. While he was thinking, the little heavenly dog roared and attacked again. Its speed was extremely fast. Its attack became extremely fierce and decisive. It didn't give Lin Feng any chance to breathe. Lin Feng was exhausted, continuously using deceleration space and wind vortex. Although the little heavenly dog's defense was weakened, he didn't have any chance to attack. There was only no way to dodge, and he was forced to face it head-on, causing his body to be injured. The situation was completely reversed. The little heavenly dog, who had the upper hand, attacked even more fiercely, while Lin Feng was on the verge of collapse. Oh no! We're in big trouble now. Everyone's faces were ashen, and deep worry flashed in their eyes. Lin Feng was already exhausted and in a very sorry state. Although everyone was extremely confident in Lin Feng's strength, they weren't as blind as the people in the 4 capital cities. Seeing that Lin Feng was completely at a disadvantage and only had the strength to defend, everyone's heartbeat accelerated, and their brows were tightly knitted. If Lin Feng was defeated, the consequences would be unimaginable. Following Tianqing's shout, everyone's eyes widened. Taking a deep breath, everyone felt a chill down their spines. Ziyao's face was even paler, and she was on the verge of collapse. At this time, the people in the 4 capital cities were completely silent. Everyone's faces were filled with shock and disbelief. Lin Feng was injured. Under the little heavenly dog's wave after wave of fierce attacks, Lin Feng was unable to defend, and the left side of his chest was grazed. It was just a small graze, but it broke through the defense of the reverse spiral armor, causing blood to flow. The 3 terrifying claw shadows were terrifying to the heart and lungs. Defense was bound to fail. Oh no! Lin Feng gritted his teeth. His body was already beyond its limits. Being injured affected the execution of his movement techniques and dodging. The scales of the battle began to tilt. The little heavenly dog's ferocious eyes shone with a cold light, and its attacks became even more ferocious, as if it wanted to. Lin Feng was about to suffer a crushing defeat. Rushing to 10,000 characters, tomorrow will be 4 chapters 12,000. Xiao Xiao is also going all out like Lin Feng. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Qidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 3:18. I can't lose. Lin Feng clenched his teeth, his willpower incomparably firm. He knew in his heart that he was the only hope of Sky Martial Continent. The wound on the left side of his chest was bleeding profusely. Lin Feng endured the pain and dodged continuously. However, the small celestial hound's speed was too fast. Even though it was heavily weakened by the black fog, it was still beyond Lin Feng's endurance. The sharp claws brought about strong winds, and the furious small celestial hound wished it could tear Lin Feng into pieces. After 3 consecutive attacks, Lin Feng was unable to dodge. With the nightmare demon spear blocking suddenly, bang! His chest felt like it was struck by lightning. Lin Feng spat out a mouthful of blood and retreated. If this goes on, I will definitely lose. Lin Feng frowned, his heart twisted. He had already used all of his strength, but he was still unable to deal with the small celestial hound. The huge difference in their bodies caused them to stand in different positions, resulting in different results. The only chance is to find a flaw. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. As usual, he was firm. The 4th stage of manifestation, condensing the body, is a double-edged sword. Although the speed is fast, the weakening of the attack and defense. There was still hope. But the prerequisite was to hit the small celestial hound. Most importantly, the small celestial hound's speed was too fast. Before his attack could hit it, it was very likely that it would be torn into pieces. Would he lose? Lin Feng, is there no other way? This was the only thought that appeared in the minds of the martial gods. Everyone clenched their fists tightly, their expressions tense, their worry written all over their faces. Right now, Lin Feng was at a disadvantage. Do your best. Xiao Jian frowned. It's up to you, Lin Feng. Fang Ning pursed his lips, his eyes flashing. They were once left far behind by Lin Feng. Now, in a perfect cultivation environment, Fang Ning and Xiao Jian's strength had increased by leaps and bounds. Especially Fang Ning. He was only a hair's breadth away from Ziyao. But even though the two of them were firmly seated as the 3rd and 4th strongest of the human race, compared to Lin Feng, there was still a huge gap. Everyone was clear about one thing. Once Lin Feng was defeated, no one would be able to stop that devil. The Sky Martial Continent was about to be destroyed. Pung! Lin Feng was sent flying again. Poof! Spitting out blood, Lin Feng's face paled. Due to the strong inertia, his body kept retreating. Even though the little celestial hound's body had shrunk and its strength had been greatly reduced, even though its attack power had been heavily weakened by the reverse spiral armor through the Nightmare Devil Spear. But it was still beyond Lin Feng's tolerance. A single attack was not frightening. What was frightening was the successive attacks, causing the already tilted situation to tilt even more towards the little celestial dog's side. After being continuously injured, Lin Feng's strength continued to decline. On the other hand, the little celestial dog became more and more courageous as it fought, its fighting spirit soaring. I can't find any openings at all. Lin Feng bit his lip until it bled. The little celestial dog's speed was too fast, and its attacks were too ferocious. He wanted to find its flaws, but instead, he was injured time and time again. It was not worth it. This was equivalent to a gamble. As for himself, he did not have enough bargaining chip. If this drags on, it will only become more and more disadvantageous for me. His figure rapidly retreated, shrouded in black fog. Lin Feng's eyes were dark, but they were incomparably resolute. In his heart, he had already made the final decision. Facing this situation where he could no longer continue, he had to cut off all means of retreat. Fight it out. Lin Feng's eyes shone coldly. His mind was incomparably focused. In a split second, Lin Feng's eyes were filled with determination. Even if he had to sacrifice himself, he was willing to do so. Secret clone. His expression instantly changed. Lin Feng's hand gestures quickly changed. His mind in battle was incomparably focused, condensed, and the complicated secret clone technique was easily used. In a split second, Lin Feng's figure became illusory and hazy, as if there was a layer of shadow, confusing and confusing. Since there was no chance, then he would create an opportunity for himself. Hua! His figure instantly split. Two identical Lin Feng appeared at the same time. The little celestial hound, which was rapidly attacking, could not help but be startled. Before it could react, the two Lin Feng, one in front and one behind, had already launched an incisive attack. Boom! Intense chi of heaven and earth surged, twining around the secret clone Lin Feng's body. The violent airflow surged wildly. The gathering of chi of heaven and earth caused Lin Feng's aura to reach its peak. In a split second, he shouted, "Space deceleration!" Layers of restraints wrapped around the little celestial hound. The secret clone Lin Feng's spirit beast ball instantly shone. Hua! A black light flashed. With the appearance of the black skeleton, Lin Feng's aura instantly surged. Internal control, possession. Puppet! Lin Feng controlled his life spirit and used his secret technique at will. A dazzling black luster appeared, carrying with it a wisp of life aura. Enveloped by the black fog, the secret clone Lin Feng turned into an illusory figure. In an instant, it overlapped with the figure of the black skeleton and disappeared from the spot. Their auras completely merged, and their figures suddenly rushed forward. Link after link, the connection was seamless. Their speed was extremely fast. Swoosh! In an instant, Lin Feng and the little celestial hound clashed in close combat. Lin Feng only had a superficial understanding of the internal control technique when it came to controlling puppets. The black skeleton's true strength couldn't be unleashed by 10%. It only had a body. Back then, even the third stage of refined teeth couldn't deal with it. Lin Feng was still a layman in the branch of puppeteer. He was still thousands of miles away from being proficient. But, at this moment, the black skeleton's role wasn't to attack, but to attract firepower. Roar! A violent roar sounded. Trapped in the space deceleration, the provoked little celestial hound was extremely angry. Its sharp claws covered the sky and earth. It was as fast as the wind. Even with Lin Feng's original strength, it was difficult for him to dodge. Not to mention the black skeleton puppets he controlled? He was simply a live target. However, this was Lin Feng's true goal and hope. The black skeletons were sacrifices to begin with. In fact, the black skeletons weren't the only ones that had to be sacrificed. Lin Feng's main body moved. The vortex under his right foot flickered and emitted an astonishingly violent energy. The sixth stage of Emperor Shun's strategy was executed from the heart. Black fog enveloped Lin Feng, who was in the human soul state, and the strength of the god of war didn't decrease at all. At this moment, the little celestial hound's attack had already been launched. The control of time, it was perfect. Abandon the black skeleton, abandon the life soul, just for a chance to attack. Lin de go. Ziyao's small hands were sweaty, and she looked nervous. Lin Feng is really decisive. Fong Ning's eyes shone, and he was impressed. The martial gods' faces were filled with anticipation. They held their breaths and widened their eyes, not even daring to blink. The critical moment had already arrived. The people of the four royal cities prayed for Lin Feng and were worried about this battle. Everyone raised their heads to look at the huge screen in the sky, showing the soul-stirring battle. Everyone had the greatest confidence in the hero they respected. He would definitely win. And this was also Lin Feng's state of mind at this moment. He couldn't lose. Chi! A sharp claw shadow slashed across the black skeleton's head. A terrifying attack power erupted in an instant. For the first time, the little celestial hound had truly unleashed 100% of its strength. As if a sharp blade had slashed across, the black skeleton was cut into two from top to bottom. Boom! Its head shook violently. In that instant, Lin Feng felt as if his soul had scattered. His eyes were filled with endless shock, and his heart seemed to have stopped beating. His courage was shattered. Compared to external control, internal control of puppets was more convenient, simpler, and easier to grasp. But the consequences were even more serious. There were pros and cons. The pain and death of possessing a puppet also affected the life soul. Whoosh! At the periphery of the life soul, the defense-type 3-star spirit treasure, building water wall, formed a huge water wall to protect it firmly. But that terrifying attack power directly penetrated the defense and acted on the life soul. Although it had weakened a lot, the life soul, it was still heavily injured. Pa! Lin Feng frantically bit the tip of his tongue. The heavy injury to the life soul was a huge blow to Lin Feng. The effect of multitasking was affected. But Lin Feng couldn't care about anything else. He had already expected this outcome. When he had formulated this attack method, he had been prepared to sacrifice. Just for one attack. The last attack was also the strongest attack. Die! Lin Feng's eyes were bright, and his mind was completely focused. The devouring fire crazily poured out a terrifying power. It connected with the fiery red nightmare spear and burned like a raging fire. The little celestial hound in front of him was vulnerable. The best opportunity. Skybreak. The whirlpool under his right foot flashed violently. Lin Feng frantically took a step forward. The nightmare spear in his hand could completely sense its master's fighting spirit. In that instant all the power exploded. All the attacks were covered by this one attack. The light completely gathered. And at that moment, roar! The little celestial hound's hair stood on end. It felt an inexplicable sense of danger. This was the intuition of a beast, a natural instinct. Roar! Roar! The flames burned wildly. In an instant, a shocking flame condensed in the little celestial hound's mouth. Its speed was far beyond Lin Feng's expectations. In order to preserve its life, the little celestial hound used all its strength. There seemed to be an inexplicable power in its body. Its blood-red eyes turned. The little celestial hound's face was ferocious as it stared at the damned human in front of it. Quick! I need to be quick! Lin Feng gritted his teeth and used all his strength to activate the spear in his hand. The crazy aura exploded into an extremely thick black fog. The power of the whirlpool was pushed to the limit. I must win! Lin Feng crazily shouted. For the Sky Martial Continent, for his family, for the protection in his heart, he had no way out. Only this last spear was left. All thoughts were empty. Everything around him seemed to have disappeared. All the aura no longer existed. In the entire world, only this spear was left. This spear seemed to be able to pierce through the heavens. Lin Feng could no longer feel himself, the spear in his hand, or anything else. It was as if his entire being was immersed in a kind of nothingness. In this most critical moment, in this final attack, Lin Feng had inexplicably entered a mysterious state, returning to the origin. First update. Second update. 1900 hours. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Qidien.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 319. The fifth stage of the spear technique, Return to Origin. Over the past few months, he had been madly practicing for 3,000 hours every day in the high-grade cultivation space. Lin Feng had finally unleashed his accumulated strength. The nightmare demon spear transformed into a streak of red light, piercing through the clouds and piercing the heavens. The increase in his realm directly led to a qualitative change in his spear technique, raising it to a whole new level. It was as if two blacksmiths were forging the same piece of iron. One could only forge an ordinary weapon, while the other could forge a divine weapon. Die! Lin Feng's killing intent completely exploded. Pushing himself to the limit, Lin Feng's final breath was frenzied, and the engulfing fire burned fiercely. Roar! The little celestial hound panicked. Before it could gather the flames in its mouth, the red light had already struck down like lightning. In an instant, it exploded. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded. A fiery red color, as if a raging fire was burning. Heavens! What a powerful attack! Who won? Everyone stared at the screen, waiting for the final result. Ziyao trembled lightly. Her beautiful face was completely pale. Her small hands clutched her dress tightly, her palms cold. Nervous, scared. All kinds of emotions spread. In fact, everyone's heart was filled with worry. The red light gradually faded. Under everyone's gaze, a black figure gradually imprinted itself into their eyes. Everyone held their breath. Drip, drip. Blood dripped continuously. It was a horrifying sight. Lin Feng was covered in wounds. There was not an inch of skin on his body that was undamaged. The reverse spiral armor shattered into powder. Lin Feng held the nightmare demon's spear tightly in his right hand, stabbing it into the ground. His face was extremely pale. Lin Feng's strong willpower and perseverance allowed him to stand tall and strong. His stubborn eyes were filled with unyielding will. Although his body was on the verge of collapse, Lin Feng, he still survived. Big brother Lin. Ziyao's heart ached to the extreme as 2 streams of tears flowed down her cheeks. In almost an instant, Ziyao turned into a phantom and flew out of the palace. She wished she could grow a pair of wings and immediately fly to the side of her beloved. Lin Feng, Fang Ning and Xiao Jian's hearts tightened as they followed closely behind Ziyao. Among the crowd, aside from Ziyao, these two were the ones who had the best relationship with Lin Feng. When they saw that Lin Feng was heavily injured, they immediately felt nervous. The other martial gods all stared blankly at the screen. Their hearts were filled with admiration as they looked at the black figure that stood tall like a god of war. But he didn't see the little celestial dog? Was he dead? Or would they be burned to ashes? Hua! Crazy cheers rang out. Every corner of the sky martial continent was filled with joy. A neat and loud hero's song was sung by everyone as they watched their hero once again display his might and kill the demon. Everyone's hearts were filled with excitement. They were filled with the feeling of surviving a calamity. With Lin Feng here, there was nothing to fear. A feeling of weakness rushed into his mind. Lin Feng felt intense pain all over his body. His body could no longer move. But, I can't fall. Lin Feng bit his lips tightly. His pale face regained some of its color. Using the last of his strength, Lin Feng sensed the existence of the Netherworld seal. His remaining strength surged out. Suddenly, the Netherworld seal in his right hand flashed. Lin Feng transformed into a ray of light and slowly disappeared. Not long after, 3 figures sped over. Ziyao, Fang Ning, and Xiao Jian looked around nervously. However, they could not find any trace of Lin Feng. Where did you go, Lin de Go? Ziyao pursed her lips. Her eyes were filled with worry. Don't worry, Lin Feng should be fine. Fang Ning comforted. Yes, Lin Feng will definitely come back. Xiao Jian nodded. The Netherworld ship. In a huge blue pool, there was a completely naked black figure immersed in it. Duo crossed his arms and hovered in the air, looking at Lin Feng. At this time, Lin Feng's body was tied to various instruments. Blue water flowed through the small instruments and seeped into Lin Feng's body, repairing every inch of his skin and cells. The damaged skin was being repaired at a speed visible to the naked eye. His injuries were extremely serious. Slowly, Duo heaved a sigh of relief and nodded. Outside the blue pool, an intricate instrument kept flashing. The pulsing red button had already turned green. This meant that Lin Feng's life force was slowly recovering. Once all the injuries on his body were repaired, he would be fully recovered. Fortunately, we made it in time to rescue him. This little guy is really desperate. However, his will is very strong. Duo nodded approvingly. If an ordinary person had suffered such serious injuries, they would have collapsed long ago. However, Lin Feng still had the strength to return to the netherworld ship. If he had been a little later, all the blood would have flowed out. Then, no matter how powerful he was, he would not be able to save him. Unlike now, although he had used up a lot of energy, at least he was still alive. However, his fate soul is troublesome. Duo sighed. It's heavily injured. He's in a coma. Duo frowned. The little celestial dog's attack was so terrifying that it had directly destroyed the black skeleton. Even the puppet's fate soul had been heavily injured. If not for the protection of the defense-type third-grade spirit treasure, the water wall, the fate soul might have suffered irreparable damage. Now, he was only in a coma. His body should be able to recover in a few more hours. However, Duo sighed. He seemed to be worried about something and shook his head. Let's wait until Lin Feng wakes up. Looking at Lin Feng in the blue pool, Duo's face was still solemn. The situation seemed not as optimistic as the people of the Tianwu continent thought. Sky City. Although they had defeated the celestial dog, everyone was still worried. Lin Feng had disappeared for a total of 8 hours. Normally, there would be no need to worry. But now, the beast horde would erupt every 12 hours. There were only 2 hours left before the next eruption. Without Lin Feng to kill those dragons, how could the human ancient martial art practitioners withstand it? Ziyao, are you still unable to contact Lin Feng? Huang Liang asked worriedly. Gently shaking her head, Ziyao pursed her lips. Her eyes were less lively and more dazed. This is troublesome. The smile on the smiling Buddha's face disappeared. Although that evil demon had been killed, the beast horde's rampage still existed. At this point in the third stage, the leading dragons were getting stronger and stronger. In the last round, the beast horde was led by a 5th-grade green sea dragon. Its strength was extremely terrifying. Apart from Lin Feng, who could deal with it, Fang Ning and Little Sword looked at each other, feeling powerless. Although the two of them had improved quickly, they were still far from the 5th-grade initial star realm. Even Ziyao, who was the strongest among them, was only at the 3rd-grade initial star realm. I will replace Lin Dego and protect the Tianwu continent. Ziyao nodded, her face was filled with determination. Me too. Me too. Fang Ning and Little Sword smiled and replied. How can you leave me out? Yes, we cannot lose our fighting spirit. We must protect the Tianwu continent and wait for Lin Feng to return. Following Ziyao's words, everyone agreed, their eyes filled with determination. Regardless of the difference in strength, protecting the human race, protecting the Tianwu continent was their duty and responsibility. United as one. And at this moment, at the entrance of the sacred palace, a huge figure slowly walked in. It was 10 meters tall, covered in black scales that shone with a cold light. A huge dragon tail coiled behind it, and 2 horns could be faintly seen on its head. The appearance of this dragon man shocked everyone. Its shocking chi far surpassed any human martial artist. Let me introduce myself, I am Refined Puppet. The dragon man smiled, his gaze swept across everyone, and looked at Ziyao. Everyone was stunned. Their expressions changed, and they could not react. Refined Puppet? Ziyao's eyes lit up, she had heard Lin Feng mention it before. She covered her mouth. You are? Yes, I am Lin Feng's contracted beast. Refined Puppet nodded. This time, I am here under Master Lin Feng's orders, to help you humans. Refined Puppet was the Black Mist demonic dragon. Under Lin Feng's meticulous nurturing, it had already broken through from the 1st grade to the 3rd grade. Learning the language of the Tianwu continent was not difficult for the intelligent Refined Puppet. In fact, Refined Puppet was quite intelligent. That day in the Black Mist demonic dragon valley, Lin Feng almost lost his life to it. It was a pity that its talent was average, and thus it was stuck at the first grade, not as good as clan leader refined teeth. Contracted beast? Master Lin Feng. Everyone suddenly remembered the black mist demonic dragon. That day when it came to the Tianwu continent with Lin Feng, it had caused a huge uproar, but it slowly disappeared, and then faded from people's sight. Who would have thought that it would appear again? You just said, Lin Feng's orders? Is Lin Feng all right? Fang Ning caught the point in refined puppet's words and asked. Ziyao's eyes lit up, and everyone pricked up their ears. Refined puppet smiled and shook its head. Master is all right. He is just unconscious from his injuries. He will be back after the treatment. As soon as Lian Ru finished speaking, everyone's hearts calmed down, especially Ziyao. Her beautiful face finally revealed a smile that hadn't appeared in a long time. Linda Gu is alright, that's great. Ziyao closed her eyes, her heart calm. I told you Lin Feng would be back, haha. Xiao Jian laughed happily. This good news instantly restored everyone's confidence. As long as Lin Feng was around, everyone seemed to have a backbone, and there was nothing to worry about. With the help of refined puppet, who was at the third grade dealing with the beasts, it was easy. Laughing happily, the entire martial heaven continent celebrated with joy. Unbeknownst to them, this shocking storm, it did not end. The dark clouds still shrouded the Tianwu continent and the entire human race. In a corner of the wilderness, that demon was still alive. Second update, third update 2130. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 320. In the distant Douling world. Meng, I just felt a pain in my heart. Did something happen to Qiong-er? The red-clothed woman, Qi Yen, said worriedly. Madam, Yi-er is sick. The middle-aged man, Qi Meng, sat by the bed and patted the red-clothed woman's shoulder. He comforted her, don't worry. Qiong-er is a rare genius of the Celestial Dog clan. He was born with the heavenly fire. Even Zhu Yan couldn't kill him. How could something happen to him? The red-clothed woman, Qi Yen, pursed her lips. I'm still worried. I don't know when I'll find Qiong-er. Sigh. The middle-aged man, Qi Meng, sighed. There are millions of islands in the outer realm. It won't be easy to find Qiong-er in the vast ocean. We can only take one step at a time. When Qiong-er grows up, his telepathy will be stronger. It'll be much easier. I hope so. The red-clothed woman, Qi Yen, nodded. The netherworld ship. Am I dead? As Lin Feng slowly regained his consciousness, he felt a splitting headache. Suddenly, Hua. He opened his eyes. Where is this? Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Lin Feng removed the semi-oval mask and sensed his body. Looking at the instruments inserted in various parts of his body, Lin Feng suddenly understood. Phew, Lin Feng let out a long breath. His body shook slightly, and he broke free from the mechanical arms. His right leg exerted force and he jumped out of the blue pool. The strange liquid energy was absorbed by his body in the blink of an eye. His body felt full. Lin Feng looked ahead. In front of him, Duo was looking at him with a smile. He threw over a set of black martial clothes. He quickly put it on. Lin Feng clenched his fists and his eyes focused. Lin Feng was slightly surprised. His body seemed to have strengthened? Was it an illusion? How do you feel? Duo's eyes shone. Not bad. Lin Feng moved his arms and legs. He vaguely remembered that he was heavily injured. He used all his strength to return to the netherworld ship. After that, he couldn't remember anything. Clearly, Toto had saved him. Lin Feng nodded. Many thanks, Toto. It's nothing. Toto smiled. But, Lin Feng shook his head, feeling dizzy. My head still hurts a little. That's because your life soul was severely injured and unconscious. Duo shrugged and said, You're really bold, kid. You dared to gamble with your fate soul like that. Did you know that your fate soul would have been torn to pieces by that celestial dog? Lin Feng shook his head. There was no other way. I didn't expect to be able to survive. Lin Feng suddenly smiled, feeling as if he had just survived a calamity. He still remembered that final spear strike. He had comprehended a breakthrough and killed the celestial hound before its flames erupted. But who would have thought an inexplicable explosion occurred? He almost lost his life. My luck is not bad, Duo said casually. If you hadn't formed the phoenix natal plate and possessed the devouring flame, that violent heavenly fire would have burned you to nothing. Duo paused, then sighed softly. It's a pity. Killing that celestial dog was the best opportunity, but Lin Feng frowned, a bad premonition rising in his heart. It's not dead yet? Lin Feng bit his lip and stared at Duo. As expected, when he saw Duo nod, Lin Feng's heart thumped. He clenched his fists unconsciously, feeling his blood rush through his veins. His fighting spirit was boiling. What's going on, Duo? Lin Feng's eyes darkened. See for yourself. Duo pointed a finger. Instantly, several rays of dazzling white light gathered in front of Lin Feng, forming a mirror-like halo. Lin Feng's eyes widened as he stared at it. The celestial dog was curled up in a ball in a spacious area. Its fiery red fur seemed to burn like a raging inferno, and the flame mark on the little celestial dog's forehead flickered with a terrifying light. Its face seemed somewhat pale, and its eyes were tightly shut. A faint scar could be seen on its chest, and it was slowly healing. The most frightening thing was that the outside of its body was wrapped in dazzling flames. Lin Feng seemed to be able to hear a sizzling sound. It was extremely lively. Resting in the flames, the little celestial dog was slowly recovering, and its body's energy was becoming more and more abundant. This is... Lin Feng's eyes sparkled. Heavenly fire, Duo said solemnly. It controls the Tao of fire, and the celestial dog clan is the favored child of fire. The 5 top-grade bloodlines live up to their reputation. Every tens of thousands of years, the celestial dog clan will give birth to a genius expert who is born alongside the heavenly fire. They will be protected by the heavenly fire from a young age. I didn't expect that this celestial dog would be one of them. Duo sighed regretfully. Otherwise, Lin Feng, your final attack would have taken its life. That spear attack had used up all of Lin Feng's strength, and at the last moment, Lin Feng's spear technique had reached the 5th realm. Returning to origin. Indeed, it was enough to kill the weakened celestial dog. But there was nothing he could do. Heavenly fire. Lin Feng muttered softly. Although he felt that it was a pity, he didn't care too much. Many things were already destined. When it's born, the protection of the heavenly fire is the strongest, Duo said slowly. At that time, not to mention the Star River Realm, even Star Ocean Realm or Star Lord Realm martial artists couldn't do anything to it. As it was born, it absorbed the chi of heaven and earth, and the protection of the heavenly fire gradually weakened, protecting the most important part of the celestial dog, its inner core. Because its body shrank, Lin Feng, your spear just happened to pierce its inner core, causing the heavenly fire to explode. Fortunately, it had the protection of the phoenix blood, so it was lucky to escape. Duo sighed, looking at the celestial dog wrapped in heavenly fire. He shook his head and said, "But it won't be so easy to kill it next time." Lin Feng's eyes lit up. He understood what Duo meant. In order to kill the celestial dog, even his fate soul had been damaged. This was his only chance. Wanting to kill it again would be harder than ascending to the heavens. Where is it? Lin Feng's eyes burned. Duo glanced at him, paused for a few seconds, then said, "It was hit by the explosion of the heavenly fire and landed 100,000 meters to the east of Fengzhou County." He paused for a moment, then looked at Lin Feng with a serious expression. You've decided? Yes. Lin Feng's voice was firm, without the slightest hesitation. Even if you have to sacrifice your life? Asked Duo. Looking at Toto, Lin Feng smiled and said, I have to do this, Toto. A gentle light appeared in Lin Feng's eyes as he said softly, My family is here, my compatriots. Perhaps I can take my family and escape this calamity, but the martial heaven continent will be destroyed. I will never be able to raise my head again. I will never be able to straighten my back. A real man should have a clear conscience when looking up to heaven and earth. This is my responsibility, my oath. Perhaps you think I'm foolish, but I have to do it. Lin Feng's voice was sonorous and powerful. His eyes didn't change in the slightest. His words came from the bottom of his heart. He definitely wouldn't run away. Go. Duo smiled. Your teacher will be proud to have a disciple like you. Lin Feng nodded and smiled. In truth, I might have a chance. At the very least, my spear art has reached the 5th realm. My chances of victory have increased. Furthermore, Lin Feng clenched his fist. He immediately felt a surge of energy. I don't know why, but after recovering, my body seems to have advanced another level. Duo was startled. Your body has advanced another level? Duo didn't understand. In an instant, Duo's eyes lit up as if he had thought of something. He excitedly said, Lin Feng, quick, control the devouring flame. Lin Feng's brows furrowed. He seemed to understand something. With a thought, a shockingly powerful flame appeared. It burned fiercely as if it had a life of its own. Lin Feng was stunned when he sensed the power that was several times stronger than before. He could feel the heat and devouring power. Heavens, this! Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. His devouring flame had advanced by a whole level. 22nd level. Duo's eyes lit up. Lin Feng, your devouring flame has advanced by 3 levels. Lin Feng took a deep breath. He was pleasantly surprised. Originally, it would take a month or more for his devouring flame to advance to the 20th level. He didn't expect it to advance to the 22nd level. The speed of improvement was far beyond his expectations. The most important improvement was from the 19th level to the 20th level. An increase of 1 level. To the current him, the stronger his devouring flame, the stronger his strength. An increase in absolute attack power. Heavens, what's going on? Lin Feng exclaimed. A blessing in disguise. Duo smiled and pointed at a cylindrical device not far away. Let's go in and test it. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. He instantly stepped in. Soon, War God 4th level galaxy. War God 5th level galaxy. Lin Feng stepped out of the device. He couldn't suppress his excitement. His original power level, the War God and Martial God, were both at the 3rd level of the Cosmic River realm. Now they were an entire level higher. Especially the War God. Lin Feng looked at Duo curiously. Duo smiled and explained, because of the heavenly fire. The explosion of the heavenly fire protected the heavenly hound, but it also helped you. Lin Feng, you've absorbed quite a lot of pure sky fire energy, so… Lin Feng, you've condensed the phoenix natal plate and possessed the devouring fire. Therefore, so my devouring flame improved, and so did my body. Lin Feng's eyes sparkled. It was a blessing in disguise. It didn't take any effort at all. That's right. The main improvement is the devouring fire. My body is only slightly improved, but… Duo smiled. This is a huge change. Not to mention other things, the speed of the War God Galaxy Level 4 is more than twice as fast as the War God Galaxy Level 3. Lin Feng clenched his fist. His eyes were burning with battle intent. He thought that his chances of winning against the Heavenly Hound were almost 0, but there was a silver lining. Third update. Next update. 0, 00. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidien.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 321. Lin Feng didn't know who it would be. Once again, he embarked on his journey. With refined puppet protecting the humans for him, Lin Feng was at ease. Earlier, he had communicated with refined puppet telepathically. Now, the human warriors were no longer as weak as before. With his help, every novice star warrior had a group attack spirit treasure. This was very effective against a large army of beasts. As refined puppet killed the leading emperor-level demonic beasts and dragons, soon, the human warriors won another battle without shedding a drop of blood. Everyone, wait a little longer. Lin Feng flew above the wilderness of Fengzhou County. His eyes sparkled as he looked around. Lin Feng was like a hunter, searching for traces of the heavenly hound. His strength had greatly increased. This time, he had absolute confidence. Kill this heavenly hound. East of Fengzhou County, 100,000 meters away. Lin Feng searched inch by inch and sensed the surroundings. The range was very large, but Lin Feng's search speed was even faster. Flying at high speed, Lin Feng suddenly felt a scorching aura. His eyes widened. There. The heavenly fire couldn't be hidden at all. With the Phoenix natal chart, Lin Feng's perception of fire, it was very strong. Whoosh! Like a sharp arrow, it pierced through the air. Lin Feng's expression was full of confidence. This time, his aura had completely changed. As he flew through the air, his extreme speed caused the air to surge. I see it. Lin Feng's eyes were like lightning. Bang! The nightmare demon spear was unsheathed and turned into a red light. Feeling a throbbing in his heart, the nightmare demon spear followed him like a shadow, filled with endless battle intent. Gritting his teeth, Lin Feng was like a god descending. After less than 20 hours, Lin Feng attacked the small heavenly hound again. This time, he must eliminate the source of the problem. Pa! His eyes opened instantly. The small heavenly hound, which was originally resting, felt extreme danger and immediately stood up. The little celestial hound's 10-meter-long body was majestic. Under the restoration of the heavenly fire's energy, the little celestial hound's injuries had mostly healed. Although he wasn't in his best condition, he wasn't too far off. Seeing Lin Feng descend from the sky, the little celestial dog's eyes were filled with hatred. An irreconcilable enmity. Roar! With a violent roar, the little heavenly hound went berserk. Its body instantly shrank. This time, the little celestial hound was much smarter. It maintained its body at 3 meters long, and its speed increased by a lot. However, its attack and defense did not decrease by much. It just reached a critical point, and it did not become too weak to stand up to the wind. But however, it did not expect that this human in front of it, in less than 20 hours. It was a complete transformation. Emperor Shun's Gangqi. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Bright energy filled his body and surged crazily. The talent, Black Fog, followed him like a shadow, causing Lin Feng's figure to not only become ghostly, but also increase his speed crazily. In an instant, the vortex at his right foot flashed with purplish-black light. A demonic energy surged, and thousands of small holes increased the limit. Lin Feng had completely erupted. Whoosh! With one step, he crossed the level. Sky Breaker. The strongest move was instantly used. Lin Feng's eyes were as bright as starlight. The nightmare demon spear in his hand seemed to turn into nothingness. His body was completely immersed in that step, and everything around him disappeared. At this moment, Lin Feng seemed to have come to a cultivation space. There was nothing and nothing existed. There was only himself and the spear in his hand. Return to origin. The devouring fire crazily emerged, and Lin Feng's killing intent completely erupted. He did not hold back at all. The moment he attacked, he used his strongest attack, his most terrifying killing move. End the battle quickly. Roar! The little celestial hound was also crazy. It did not expect that this human, who had been dodging, would actually dare to launch a frontal attack on it. He was simply reckless. Extremely stupid. Not only did the little celestial hound not dodge at all, it decisively met the attack, and its speed also erupted. The battle just now had long been deeply ingrained in the little celestial hound's mind. It remembered Lin Feng's strength, but the little celestial hound did not expect that Lin Feng's strength would change so dramatically in such a short time. This was the difference between humans and demonic beasts. No matter how smart the little celestial hound was, at least now, it was still just a demonic beast. Die! Lin Feng's eyes were bright. Daring to launch a frontal attack, with his current strength, Lin Feng was full of confidence. Screech! The nightmare demon's spear streaked through the air, leaving behind an afterimage. Boom! The astonishing spear move displayed the full extent of the attack. Lin Feng did not adjust the angle of attack at all. The black fog increased his speed, but decreased the celestial hound's speed. The momentum of pressing forward courageously maximized the absolute attack power. The devouring fire came into contact with the remaining skyfire. In an instant, it erupted. Screech! The astonishing flames burned, and the terrifying attack was fully displayed. Both of its hands seemed to feel a powerful reaction force, but it was instantly suppressed by Lin Feng. Looking at the celestial hound's horrified expression, Lin Feng's killing intent was fully released. The nightmare demon's spear was mixed with a strong devouring fire. In a frontal attack, it directly broke through the little celestial hound's defense. It broke through the attack, burned through the skyfire, and pierced through the defense. Tyrannical to the extreme. Lin Feng held the advantage in all aspects. Bang! The astonishing sound of the collision, accompanied by the little celestial hound's hysterical howl, spread throughout the entire mountain range, echoing in waves. It was like the sorrowful cry of a wild beast, like a symphony of death, confirming the little celestial hound's complete defeat, no longer able to resist. In the fiery red light, Lin Feng stood proudly. The nightmare demon's spear in his hand burned with raging flames, swaying in the wind. I won, Lin Feng said softly. Looking at the bloody celestial hound not far away, Lin Feng's lips curled into a smile. This spear, with the continuous amplification, was more than 10 times stronger than the last spear of the first battle. Defeating the celestial hound head-on and shattering the skyfire gave him endless confidence. The next spear would take its life. Lin Feng held the nightmare demon's spear tightly, his eyes sparkling. However, at this moment, suddenly the weather changed and the sky inexplicably darkened. A huge force emerged. Lin Feng was startled, and his expression changed greatly. Oh no! Just as he reacted, suddenly, bang! A powerful rebounding force bounced Lin Feng away. It was an unstoppable heaven's might. It was a majestic aura and pressure. Lin Feng could not control his body at all and flew backwards. Although the force was strong, it did not have the intention to harm Lin Feng. It only bounced Lin Feng out of the area. Bang! Lin Feng stood still in midair. Looking ahead, Lin Feng's mouth was wide open, and his expression was shocked. What he saw was a cylindrical light screen that stretched to the sky. The transparent light screen controlled the entire area, isolating everything in the surroundings, and in the center of the cylindrical light screen, the celestial hound had already stood up, roaring in anger. Its red fur flickered with the faint light of the skyfire. Although the little celestial hound was injured in the attack just now, its sharp claws were the most injured. Its body was protected by the skyfire, and with the reduction of the frontal attack, the injury was not too serious. Damn it! Lin Feng's expression changed. He originally thought that victory was in his grasp, but he did not expect that at the most critical moment, the little celestial hound would attract the lightning tribulation. It was about to transform. Standing in the distance, Lin Feng had mixed feelings. He was so close, but many times a small difference was unreachable. The chances of a young celestial hound transforming are extremely low. According to Duoduo, this wild celestial hound has almost no chance of transforming in its infancy. Lin Feng sighed. At this time, there was nothing he could do but smile bitterly. He had never imagined that things would turn out this way. If it were before, he would have been very happy. But now a new variable had appeared in a situation that was in the bag. I didn't expect that in the end, heaven would make the decision. Lin Feng looked at the little celestial hound on the screen, frowning slightly. At this time, the celestial hound seemed to know what had happened. It had returned to its original form, and it raised its head, energetically welcoming the arrival of the lightning tribulation. It was very excited. The sky was dark. Dark clouds covered the entire area, and it felt like a storm was coming. Boom! Rumble! A loud sound came from the sky, accompanied by flashes of lightning and rolls of thunder. A terrifying pressure followed. Lin Feng's eyes widened. This was the first time he had seen a lightning tribulation. Since he was here, he might as well make the best of it. There was nothing he could do now. He could only wait. Wait for the final result to come out. If it can't withstand the lightning tribulation, it will fail and die. It will be the best. Lin Feng nodded, his eyes shining. This was the best script, the most perfect ending. He did not even need to do it personally. The Tianwu continent's calamity, it would pass peacefully. But if it survives the lightning tribulation and successfully transforms. Lin Feng's expression kept changing, and he was nervous. After it transforms, it will transform into a human, and its strength will increase greatly. It will quickly evolve to a new level. At that time, Lin Feng was immediately worried. Once this celestial hound transforms into a human, the situation would become unsalvageable. Lin Feng did not have time to think. At this time, the lightning tribulation began. Boom! Boom! As if the heavens had descended, huge lightning bolts struck down mercilessly. Roar! The little celestial hound roared, its expression filled with pain. The shocking rolling thunder fell on its body. After being weakened by the heavenly fire, it was still very powerful, causing the little celestial hound to be in so much pain that it wished it was dead. And at this moment, 2 more heavenly lightning bolts struck down, illuminating the sky. Boom! Boom! Without mercy, the sound of thunder mixed with the little celestial hound's roars rose and fell. One after another, the lightning tribulation roared with a terrifying aura. Lin Feng's eyes were incomparably deep as he clenched his fist. Strike it to death! Lin Feng kept cursing. However, the lightning tribulation was uncontrollable. The little celestial hound was indeed a rare genius of the celestial hound clan. Under the protection of the heavenly fire, the lightning tribulation continued, but it resisted forcefully. The strength of its body and the strength of its will were indeed rare. Its bloody eyes were filled with hatred. It would never fall. 4th update. 12,000 completed. It will only begin in May. Brothers and sisters, let's have some monthly votes to boost our morale. Roar twice. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 322. Again and again. The heavenly lightning did not stop, and the little Tianquan did not give up either. As time passed, Lin Feng's expression became more and more serious, and he was extremely anxious. Once the little Tianquan passed the lightning tribulation, it would be really troublesome. But he had no other choice but to watch helplessly. The heavenly might was so strong that he was unable to resist or stop it. The huge cylindrical light screen completely isolated him. All that was left was to wait. Die! I must not succeed in transforming. Lin Feng's eyes were filled with nervousness, worry, and even fear. The little Tianquan's original strength was already so terrifying. If it succeeded in transforming, how terrifying would it be? Would he be able to resist it? These were all unknowns. However, it was as if everything was already predestined. The lightning tribulation lasted for the time it took to burn an incense stick, and a total of 81 lightning bolts struck down. Inhumane torture! If it was a human, he would have long been smashed into pieces by the heavenly lightning. However, the body of a magical beast was indeed much more powerful than a human's. It was quite abnormal. Especially the little Tianquan. Although it was injured, it had the protection of the heavenly fire, which reduced the difficulty by a lot. In addition, the hatred and anger towards Lin Feng supported the little Tianquan, causing it to complete a mission that was close to impossible. It was still alive. Almost at its last breath, the heavenly fire on the little Tianquan's body was incomparably dim, as if it had no more energy and could not continue. However, it had still passed the lightning tribulation. This time, it's troublesome. Lin Feng bit his lips tightly. The worst-case scenario had already happened. Relying on its tenacity and vitality, the little Tianquan had endured the lightning tribulation. My luck is too bad. Lin Feng clenched his fists, the expression in his eyes constantly changing. First, the Assassin's Alliance was involved in the muddy waters, causing the battle that was supposed to happen half a year later to be brought forward by more than a month. Then, the little Tianquan had one fortuitous encounter after another, and its strength had improved rapidly. And now, what was even more ridiculous was that it had successfully transformed. This was simply, the heavens wanted to destroy the Tianwu continent. Hua! A rainbow-colored light shone. Lin Feng looked over with bright eyes. Under the illumination of the seven-colored light, the injuries on the dying little celestial dog's body began to slowly heal. Even from a distance, he could clearly sense its powerful life aura. Pa! His body was constantly being repaired. It was as if the level of life had increased. The old skin was constantly being removed and new skin was growing. After the disaster, what awaited the little celestial dog was a true transformation. Come back, Lin Feng. Duodwa's urgent voice rang out. Lin Feng was startled. He looked at the little celestial dog that was receiving the baptism, and frowned. Duo rarely spoke to him like this unless, we need to plan this carefully. The transformed celestial hound isn't something you can fight against. Toto said. As expected, Lin Feng pursed his lips. How could he not know what Duo was talking about? But right now there was no way out. Lin Feng asked, will there be a way if I come back? Duo fell silent. Indeed, if there was a way, he would have used it in the first battle. Perhaps there were many treasures in the hidden artifact mountain, but with his strength, he couldn't control them. Come back first. Duo paused, then said seriously, with your current strength, your chances of winning are less than 1 in 10,000. Lin Feng smiled. But at least there's still a chance. Looking at the little celestial dog that was rapidly transforming, Lin Feng's eyes shone coldly. While it hasn't fully grasped its body and can't use its full strength, my chances of winning will be higher. If he went back and gave the little celestial dog enough time to adapt, the consequences would be even more severe. But Duo hesitated, but he knew that he couldn't persuade Lin Feng. He could only sigh. No matter what, Duo, I won't give up. Lin Feng's eyes shone brightly. Even if there's only a sliver of a chance, I'll give it a try. Looking at the little celestial dog that was gradually transforming into a human, Lin Feng clenched his teeth, his eyes filled with determination. Behind him stood all the humans of the Tianwu continent. They were spread across the vast land, and the responsibility on his shoulders was incomparably heavy. He had no way out long ago. Sky City. Oh my God! What's that? Following a martial god's exclamation, everyone gathered around. As the elite program continued, the number of human warriors who became titled martial gods gradually increased. More than half of them were members of the Shou team. This is Shou who? The warriors in charge of scouting and patrolling were stunned for a moment before shouting excitedly. Very quickly, the entire Sky City was in an uproar. Lin Feng, who had disappeared, had returned safe and sound. These newly promoted titled martial gods worshipped Lin Feng greatly. No one in the Tianwu continent could surpass him in the name of Shou Hu. 1 spread to 10, 10 spread to 100. The Sky City was only so big. In the blink of an eye, the news of Lin Feng's appearance had spread to every corner. Not long after, the novice star warriors gathered. Ziyao, Huang Mang, Lan, Lei Li, and the others rushed over the moment they received the news. Looking at Lin Feng in the light screen, everyone was pleasantly surprised. Seeing that he was safe and sound, the stone in their hearts was lifted. It's great that you're fine. Ziyao smiled sweetly. Although she had already received the news from Lien Su, seeing Lin Feng alive with her own eyes was more convincing than anything else. However, what's that? Everyone widened their eyes, looking at the person in the pillar. At this moment, the little celestial dog's transformation was nearing its end. The red fur on its body was no longer visible. Its tail had disappeared. Its sharp claws had also disappeared without a trace. Instead, it had the appearance of a human. Its slightly red skin emitted a soft feeling. Its body was covered with a layer of light scales, as if it was a set of clothes. This is transformation? Lin Feng took a deep breath. The little celestial dog had completely transformed into a human. Its height was close to 2 meters, and it had the same 4 limbs. It had a slightly demonic face, and the flame mark on its forehead was still vivid. It had a pair of cold-blooded eyes which were sharp and cold. At this moment, it was looking at him. It was full of hatred. So strong. Lin Feng trembled. This was a kind of deep power, oppressive. The transformed celestial hound was much stronger than he had imagined. But the little celestial dog's body instantly emitted a bright red light filled with the power of flames. Heavenly fire. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. Emperor Shun's Qi. Lin Feng gritted his teeth. Bang! Pulling out the nightmare demon spear, a fierce fighting spirit boiled. A dazzling red flame condensed on the spearhead. An astonishing power spread out. The 22 layers of devouring fire had an unparalleled offensive power, which was not inferior to the heavenly fire. 2 pairs of sharp eyes looked at each other, and sparks flew. The second battle was about to begin. Who is this? I've never seen it before. Everyone revealed a curious expression as they sized up the newly transformed little celestial dog. They had never seen it before. Indeed, the difference between before and after transformation was too great. One was a demonic beast, while the other was a human. Ziyao frowned slightly, and her bright eyes stared straight at the little celestial dog. She vaguely felt its hostility toward Lin Feng, and an inexplicably familiar feeling rose in her heart, but she could not put her finger on it. She felt like she had seen it somewhere before, and the aura was familiar, but there was no matching existence in her memory. Suddenly, Ziyao caught a glimpse of the flame mark on the little celestial dog's head, and her face turned pale with fright. In his mind, the memories that seemed to be similar to those of the past instantly fuse. It's it! Ziyao exclaimed. It's that celestial dog. Fang Ning had also reacted. In an instant, everyone was stunned. They looked at this human helplessly, not knowing what to do. It's not dead yet. Lil Jian gritted his teeth. Moreover, he actually succeeded in transforming. Ziyao muttered to herself. Her beautiful face turned pale. The battle that day was still fresh in her memory. Lin Feng had used all his strength to defeat the celestial dog, and he had also been severely injured. But now, this celestial dog had come back to life? Boom! The entire Sky City seemed to have exploded. Everyone's faces were filled with horror. The little celestial dog's power was still unforgettable. They had thought that it had died in Lin Feng's hands, but unexpectedly, this demon had come back from the dead. It was not just coming back from the dead. Lin Feng's expression was extremely grave. The little celestial dog in front of him, it had been reborn. Whoosh! The little celestial dog moved. It was as fast as a shooting star, and its speed increased by several times. So fast! Lin Feng turned pale with fright. His energy surged as he dodged quickly. Black mist condensed. Lin Feng turned his feet and retreated to the side. However, the little celestial dog's agility was astonishing. With a single step, it didn't pause at all. Exerting force with its right leg, it shot out like an arrow. It was as fast as lightning. Red light flashed, and the little celestial dog's eyes were bloodshot. It was very vengeful. Oh no! Lin Feng's nerves were completely tense. The little celestial dog in front of him was more than 3 times faster than its 1-meter-long body at the 4th stage of transformation. Although his strength had improved greatly, from the 3rd stage of Martial God Galaxy to the 4th stage, but the extent of his improvement was not as great as the little celestial dog's. Wind vortex. The aura surged and a purplish-black light lit up. Lin Feng took a strange step and narrowly avoided it. A hint of determination flashed in his eyes. He had made up his mind. Attack. He had to attack. He could not defend himself in the first battle, let alone now. The difference was even greater than in the first battle. Moreover, he also lacked the help of the life spirit. Just as Duo had said, his chances of winning were extremely low. His only chance was to use offense to counter offense, and take advantage of the fact that the little celestial dog was not stable yet. Kill it! But, many times, plans could not keep up with changes. After the transformation, the little celestial dog's strength had increased more than just its strength. Its eyes shone. The little celestial dog flew in the air, and a huge fireball appeared in its left hand. It expanded crazily, and in the blink of an eye, it became 1,000 meters in diameter. Without any pause, it blasted toward Lin Feng. The speed of its condensation and the ferocity of its attack were far beyond his expectations. Boom! There was a shocking explosion. From top to bottom, it was like a meteorite falling. Flames filled the sky. Oh my God! Lin Feng was completely shocked. He had no way to dodge at all. Only, wind vortex flashed under his right foot, and the rapid momentum carried Lin Feng's body into the air. He narrowly dodged the huge fireball. Boom! The fireball hit the ground with a loud bang, creating a violent explosion. Lin Feng's body had not reached the highest point, but in front of him, a red light appeared. Those eyes were filled with murderous intent. Today's update 2130. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 323. Oh no! Lin Feng's expression changed drastically. Before he could react, the little celestial hound had already made its move. Its right fist punched out, bringing with it a deep flame. Bang! It was a shocking punch. Boom! His head felt like it had exploded. Intense pain spread throughout his body, and his internal organs kept churning. The heavy punch made Lin Feng completely suffocate. Before he could react, the light in front of him was suddenly blocked. The little celestial hound appeared in an instant. The fiery red light mixed with its huge iron fist came crashing down from above. Bang! The sound was deafening. Heaven and earth lost their color. Pft! Blood spurted out wildly. Lin Feng felt his body go completely numb. All the bones in his body seemed to have shattered. His chest was in intense pain, and his body felt like it didn't belong to him. The difference in strength was too great. In an instant, he was seriously injured. There was complete silence. Time in the entire Sky City paused. Everyone's eyes widened as they stared blankly at the scene in front of them. It was as if they were suffocating. Lin Feng fell into the huge pit created by the fireball. His body was dripping with blood, and he looked like a dead man. In midair, the little celestial hound was looking down at him. Its eyes were filled with a fierce blood-red light and murderous intent. However, it seemed to want to torture Lin Feng and didn't kill him. But this was even more terrifying. Impossible! How could this be? Show who he lost? Everyone felt as if their hearts were shattered. A chill ran down their spines. Lin Feng's strength was obvious to all, but in front of the transformed little celestial hound, he didn't even have the strength to fight back. In the blink of an eye, he was seriously injured and defeated. Lin De Go. Seeing her sweetheart seriously injured, Ziyao's tears fell like rain. Show who? The martial gods clenched their fists. Veins popped on their foreheads. They wanted nothing more than to fight for Lin Feng. However, they were all very clear. Their strength was more than a level lower. The difference was like heaven and earth. They were really a level lower. Lin Feng felt as if his body was about to collapse. The gap between them was too shocking. Lin Feng looked at the little celestial dog that was looking down at him. From its eyes he could see contempt, disdain, and a strong killing intent. Too strong. Lin Feng was shocked. He was no match for him at all. After transforming, the little celestial hound's combat strength had increased by more than one level. Those sparkling eyes clearly possessed a considerable amount of intelligence. Not only did he know how to use his advantage to defeat the enemy, he also knew how to take revenge and torture to vent and satisfy himself. Unfortunately, he's still too naive. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. Although he was defeated, Lin Feng did not give up hope. At this moment, the whirlpool on his right foot was already shining with a purplish-black light. "Pa!" The little celestial dog's eyes lit up. Seeing that Lin Feng still wanted to resist, the little celestial dog's face turned cold. A huge fireball instantly condensed in its left hand. The red light contained the powerful pressure of heavenly fire. It looked at Lin Feng with disdain. The little celestial dog's face turned ferocious. The fireball fell straight down. "Go to hell." Lin Feng seemed to have seen this message from the little celestial dog's expression. "But, you want to kill me? You already have no chance." The corner of Lin Feng's mouth curved weakly. The purplish-black light on his right knee shone brightly. The power of thousands of small holes emerged in an instant. The powerful airflow instantly activated the heroic spirit, and an exceptionally shocking power rumbled. Wind escape. Lin Feng's eyes were as bright as the stars. His speed erupted crazily in an instant. The moment the huge fireball fell, Lin Feng turned into a ray of light and disappeared in the blink of an eye. With 100 times the speed explosion, even 10 little celestial dogs couldn't catch up. And at this moment, boom! The terrifying fireball exploded. "No! No!" Everyone screamed hysterically, but it was useless. They looked on helplessly as the huge fireball fell. They looked on helplessly as Lin Feng had nowhere to hide. No one had the slightest ability to help. Ziyao's face was covered in tears. She cried until she was in a mess. At this moment, she no longer cared about her status and bearing. She cried like a girl. In fact, everyone was in great sorrow. No one cared about Ziyao. Their hearts were in pain. Their bodies were heavy. They couldn't move and couldn't even speak. Lin Feng's death was equivalent to announcing the fate of the Sky Martial Continent. No, he won't die. Xiao Jian's mouth twitched. That's right. How can Lin Feng die? Lan Sha laughed foolishly. But looking at the screen, there was nothing. In the fog, there was no trace of Lin Feng. Everyone's heart was extremely heavy. Only one person remained calm. Fang Ning's eyes were blood-red. He said hoarsely, "Let's go and take a look at the martial god monument." In an instant, everyone raised their heads. Swoosh! Fang Ning sped forward. In an instant, Ziyao, Xiao Jian, and the other martial gods followed closely behind. Everyone held onto a trace of hope and hope. They prayed in their hearts, clenched their fists, and ran as fast as they could. Everyone's hearts were tightly clenched. Until, it's here. Lin Feng's name is still here. Fang Ning laughed loudly. His laughter spread throughout the entire Sky City. Everyone immediately smiled and heaved a sigh of relief. Ziyao looked at the familiar name on the martial god monument. It was still standing strong. Her tears instantly turned into a smile. Her beautiful smile was like a lotus flower after the rain. It was clear and pleasant. That was a smile from the bottom of her heart. It was filled with deep affection. Her true feelings were revealed. The originally dejected atmosphere was swept away. Although Lin Feng had been mercilessly defeated, everyone did not give up hope. As long as Lin Feng was still alive, the Sky Martial Continent, there was still hope. Ah! Ah! The little celestial dog howled excitedly as if it was venting its anger. After personally killing Lin Feng and ruthlessly torturing him, the little celestial dog let out a long sigh of relief. After transforming into a human and increasing its strength, the little celestial dog was extremely happy. However, it did not know that because of its carelessness, Lin Feng had escaped. The Netherworld ship. In the blue pool, Lin Feng was once again receiving treatment. Although he was heavily injured, it was much lighter compared to the previous time. Duo hovered in the air, his hands supporting his chin as he looked at Lin Feng. He pursed his lips and stared at him with his big eyes. Suddenly, he shook his head helplessly. This kid is really stupid. For some unrelated humans, he risked his life. Was it worth it? Duo shrugged, a misty look in his eyes. He softly muttered, however, "He is a little similar to Master. The emotions of humans are really unpredictable. Perhaps it's because I'm an artifact spirit?" Looking at the green light on the instrument, Duo revealed a faint smile. Fortunately, this kid is not stupid. He's not stubborn. No matter what, it's good that he can keep his life. But with his character, Duo frowned, but there was nothing he could do. Strictly speaking, Lin Feng was already his master since he controlled the Netherworld ship. Let's talk about it when he wakes up. Duo sighed. 4 hours later. Jumping out of the pool, Lin Feng let out a long breath. Looking at the familiar surroundings, Lin Feng smiled. No matter what, he managed to keep his life. However, thinking of the celestial dog's strength, Lin Feng's smile disappeared. It was too terrifying. Facing it, he had no power to fight back. 2 punches and I was heavily injured. Lin Feng shook his head. In fact, if it had not deliberately tortured him, he might not have had the chance to use the wind escape to escape. This is troublesome. Lin Feng frowned. How is it? Is your right leg all right? Duo suddenly appeared. A wisp of energy flowed through the meridians in his right leg. Lin Feng nodded. It's almost healed. However, I still can't feel the heroic soul. It's normal, Duo said slowly. I treated you while you were unconscious. Your meridians are fine. Even the wind vortex has been reconnected. You'll recover in about 10 days. However, the heroic soul is slightly more troublesome. It will take half a year to fully recover. Half a year? Lin Feng was stunned. In other words, he would not be able to use the wind escape for half a year? Half a year is already good enough. Duo rolled his eyes at Lin Feng. The wind escape is based on the heroic soul's potential. If it wasn't for the fact that you expended so little energy, you wouldn't have been able to recover in a few years or even decade. Lin Feng nodded. He had been lucky when he had used his full speed to escape the flames. The celestial hound had not discovered him. It had used the wind escape to a safe area and used the netherworld seal to return to the netherworld ship. Many thanks, Duo. Lin Feng thanked Duo. Indeed, he had encountered a lot of trouble time and time again. It's a small matter. Duo waved his hand and sighed. Your luck was really bad this time. If that celestial hound hadn't transformed, Lin Feng, you would have easily killed it. What a pity! Lin Feng felt helpless. Indeed, he had been one step behind. The result was completely different. That's right, the martial heaven continent. Lin Feng's expression changed as he looked at Duo. Fengzhou County has been destroyed, Duo said frankly. However, there weren't many casualties. Most of the humans have already left. The celestial hound is currently resting in the ruins of Fengzhou County. It doesn't seem to be doing anything for now. Lin Feng let out a long sigh of relief. What? Do you have an idea? Asked Duo. With your current strength, you will die no matter how many times you go. You won't have any chance. Duo's eyes shone brightly as he mercilessly said, ordinary celestial hounds have the strength of a rank 3 galaxy class when they transform in their infancy. When they transform in their infancy, their strength can reach rank 5 galaxy class. However, this celestial hound has been tempered by heavenly fire. It is comparable to a supreme bloodline demonic beast transforming in its infancy. Lin Feng was shocked. Above the 5 supreme bloodlines were the 4 supreme bloodlines. Among the demonic beasts they were the best bloodlines. It is a rank 7 galaxy class. Duo's expression was serious. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.